Hello, everybody. Hello. It is I, Trooper SJP, and this is the Academic Foxhole. And hi, how are you all? I hope you're
Name
doing
game.
well. I see. It's it's the name game. But before it's the name game, I just want to say officially hi. It is Mac Gaming Thursday, and I am playing the 2020 Independent Game Festival's Excellence in Audio a winner, Mutazione, an indie game, obviously, about mutated people who trauma dump on a teenager. And it's been 1 week. It's been a long time since I've played because in the interim, what a wild time. I'm going to sing the name game 3 times, but I wanted to say catch up with you first. So, the last time I played a video game was in December, so it has been a while. I have been keeping up with my RPGs, but I had to take a little bit of time off right at the very end of December so I could pack up and drive across the country. Then I drove across the country, which took a week. And then I had to madly unpack and get ready for class. And then I got sick. But I'm back now. I am here. I'm no longer sick. I'm still in madness. I'm not fully unpacked, actually. Like none of my spices are unpacked, which is no good. And I'm still trying to get caught up on class. And the new season has started. Both my cycle of Roleplay Reflect and also the Gamblers. But we've been streaming RPGs since I've been back. So that's good. I have been working on my after action report, believe it or not. I've been working on my after action report so that we can have so I can put that up on Patreon and then also do a State of the Foxhole stream, which will be coming. I just need a little bit of time I've got so much grading to do. This semester I have to do more grading than normal because of new stuff that's been happening. And so anyway, I got a lot of stuff going on, but I just have missed you all so much. And I've missed playing video games and I've missed doing things other than a lot of class prep. So I thought I'm going to stream today. That's it. And then after stream, I'm going to grade more and do some editing but I wanted to be here with you all today, right now, because I've missed you all. And it is nice to be around lovely people. And yeah, I'm going to catch up on chat. Then I'm going to sing. Atomica, I am here. Academic stories I know will annoy you. I have a teacher who has missed 3 of 5 Atomica has a teacher who has missed 3 out of 5 classes. I want you to know that when I had bronchitis, I still taught. I kept my mask on the entire time. And then as soon as I got home, I slept for 16 hours, but I did not miss class. Are you sure the 6 wasn't COVID? That was a long time for a flu. I've got my COVID test, so I still checked. And so it wasn't COVID. I tested myself, but it was some kind of it was kind of miserable for like the first week. It hadn't broke yet. Like I knew I was like super fatigued and tired, and I wasn't coughing anything up. It just was not expectorating, and I was like, oh, this is bad. And then it finally started moving out of my lungs, and I was like, okay. But the first thing that happened when I noticed I was getting sick, I was like, let me test COVID, and I tested twice. I didn't have it so far. I'm pretty lucky I haven't gotten COVID yet, but I did get this. It was nasty. I think people have been saying that there was a bad flu going around this season, some kind of special flu, I guess. But I didn't appreciate the specialness of that flu. Okay, look, I have something I want to share with you, but I can't just yet because right now I have to do something different, and that thing that I have to do is the name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F. On M will appear. And then I say Bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Krellin, 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 Bobellin, banana, fanner, fo felon, fee, fi, mo, melon. Krellin, the melon, felon, Pope World Build, Pope World Build, Pope World Build, banana, fanner, fo, Pope World Build, fee, fi, mo, mope World Build. Pope World Build, Atomica, Atomica, banana, fanner, fo, Atomica, fee, fi, mo, Atomica. Atomica, the name game. Woo. Yeah, Pope's learned that the version that flew this year was particularly nasty. So here's the thing. By the way, Atomica, just a side note, I feel like I need to tell you this. Every time I sing your name in the name game, for some reason, it feels like a heavy metal song. When I go Atomica, I just feel like Metallica. Do you know what I mean? Like it feels to me as if you are a heavy metal song. Those are just my feelings. I'm just telling you how I feel. Guitar's like, works for me. So I wanted to tell you, first of all, I have a show and tell. I bought something that I wanted to share with you. It's a solo RPG, and it's an adventure. I was hanging out on Reddit, as you do sometimes, on the RPG space. One of the subreddits, one of the like RPG subreddits that I hang out on sometimes, like browse. And there has been, I saw praise for a brand new solo. There's some people who might want to be here, but anyway, I was seeing praise for a brand new solo Call of Cthulhu adventure. It is the Yorkshire One, Pope. It is. So there is this solo RPG that was a solo adventure for Call of Cthulhu that was getting all this praise. And I was like, oh, that seems, people were like really high praise. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting. And it turns out it is a third party. It's a third party game. Like some regular person did it and put it up on Drive-Thru RPG through the Miskatonic repository that some of our friends use. And so I checked it out, and it's really cool. It's set in Yorkshire in the 1920s, but here's the thing. It is a sandbox solo RPG adventure for Call of Cthulhu, set in 1920s Yorkshire, but let me show it to you. It is called Alone Against Nyarlathotep, and it is this. Are you ready? Are you ready? It is a sandbox. So it's not like it is apparently like they're really doing a sandbox thing. It's 340 pages long. And they've got this whole like color coded. Ooh. Oh, I know what's going on. I think I still have my green screen filter on from when I was hanging out in Seattle and had to have a green screen up. I feel like that's what that is. Hold on a second. I was like, why am I being weird? Hold on, because that's sort of distracting. Give me a moment. Let me fix it. Yeah. Let's just take that chroma key off for a second, because I feel like we do not need that happening. Not necessary in this moment. Yeah. Great. Let me close that. By the way, if things are weird, there is a weird thing happening. For some reason, I'm putting out 60 frames per second when I normally do 30. So I'm doubling my frames per second. So if anything is weird, just let me know. That is not my intent. It's just that for some reason, my frame rate is just higher. So anyway, look, there's this really cool, it's like a timetable, and it starts at 5:30 p.m. on the 3rd of November, and it's got all the different blocks, and different things happen in various times. But for example, at 7:30 p.m. it says evening meal, go to 10. This is the first day. Midnight, reading of the will, go to 49. That doesn't seem ominous. Then it says 1 a.m., tired, go to 120. At 2 a.m., it says sleep, go to 144. I assume if you go to bed before then, you don't have to deal with whatever it is on those entries. But if you stay up late, then I imagine then you then have to deal with that, whatever it is. But it goes, yeah, they just have, when your meals are and where you should go. And there's just this one random one that 2:30 p.m. on November the 5th, you just go to entry 1137, which I'm sure it doesn't say anything more than that. I'm sure it's fine, whatever it is. But look at this. It is no AI usage. It's by this guy who is from the Yorkshire area and he loves it. And he really wanted to make a love letter to Yorkshire. And it's got like kind of cool images in the background, sort of slightly transparent so that it doesn't mess up the text at all, which is pretty neat. And there are thousands of entries in here, right? It's they've got a bunch of pre-made characters who I think can join your party. But the last entry, which I'm sure is not the ending, is 1,185. So that's how many entries there are. And it's got, let's see, like a lot of cool information in here in the top about how to, your sanity and how to run things and keeping time, hints and tips. But the front matter before you actually get into the depth is like only like 4 pages or something. It's not, it's pretty 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages to read through before you start it. And it is this massive tome. And I've been reading really good reviews of it. And this is like a little, some regular person like you and me, probably cooler than you and I, wrote it. And it's got like, I was like, oh, and I thought that was really neat. So, and it also has like cool handouts. And so I have it. And I do not know when the time will come that I will play it, but I will play it. Maybe I will do it in the summer. I don't know. We shall see, but I'm going to do it because I thought that was really neat. That's what I thought. Yeah. And I'm so excited about it. Hello. Hey, On a Geek, don't even apologize. Work. I understand work. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see. Carl, I was not ready. And it is amazing. And to size it, Carl's like, this is the size of a World of Darkness book. It is. And it is a work of passion. Although it might send me to the dreaded 14, it might. Hey, Rissa, how are you? This is a brand new solo Call of Cthulhu adventure set in 1920s Yorkshire by a person named Lee Wade, who I posted some of this in this private chat for a game that's coming, but the author's notes is just 1 page long, and the author's notes talks about the Yorkshire area and the moors, and gave references to this photographer who was doing photography of that area on the coast in the Victorian era. Beautiful photographs, really cool. This is very much a labor of love, and I don't know. I'm just really excited about it. I'm excited to support I just think that's cool. So I don't know. This person apparently took years to write this up. So I thought I'd read the back to you. The back says, these are some reviews. I'm not going to reveal much of the plot other than say it's a future classic, but I will touch on the production quality, excellent, value for money, superb, and encourage anyone with an interest in Call of Cthulhu or solo scenarios to give this title the attention it deserves. You won't regret it. Dave, customer review. Also, a simple 5-star review doesn't do this title justice. It's a monumental work and the best solo title for Call of Cthulhu that exists out there, in my opinion. It emulates amazingly what a normal Call of Cthulhu session feels like for a single player. And then I'm having such a blast. I can't believe how much the author put into this. This is one of the best solo games I have played. There is so much to do for the price. It is definitely worth it. Another customer review. And then the last thing says, warning, contains mysteries, hauntings, murders, curses, rituals, undead, puzzles, crime, rumors, lichens, sleuthing, socializing, mysticism, legends, vehicles, expeditions, special guests, tomes, allies, combats, megaliths, towns, trains, agencies, maps, histories, weapons, institutions, animals, spells, prophecies, cultist boats, suspects, secret societies, locals, artifacts, horrors, secrets, nightmares, twists, eldritch monsters, outer gods, and insanity. So I just thought I'd share that with you because I just got it in and I'm very excited about it. Just thought I'd share. Hey, Valtiel, it was released. It was, yes, Rissa, that is correct. It was released for the Miskatonic Unit repository. The Miskatonic repository. I got the hard copy that also comes with the PDF. You can get the PDF cheaper, but I wanted to have both hard copy and also digital. I like having both options. Yeah, Cake Pie's like, is that all it has? That's all it has. So sadly, that's it. Yes. And I am excited. I'm hoping that once the summer comes and that I can maybe bop in and do a little bit of that, that would be lovely. Hey, Werewolf, how are you? How am I doing? I am surviving. But I'm happy to be here with you all. So, by the way, I am working on my data collection for the State of the Foxhole stream, which I hope I can do really soon. I'm looking at. It's interesting because every year I just do this for myself. Every year I do a lot of different types of data collection at the end of the year, including overall Twitch stuff and how various categories are doing, and the Daggerheart category is new and doing quite well. But golly, it's interesting to see how the numbers are going just in general. And I know everyone's freaking out. You know, everyone's like, it's like, oh my gosh, Twitch is collapsing, and Twitch's numbers are down, but they're still above. It's a correction, right? Because they're still a little bit above the pre-COVID era. But like, anyway, we'll talk about it when I finish all of my data collection in between all of this class prep that I'm doing. Yes, survival is good. I appreciate my friends surviving in times like these. Heck of a lot of work that it is. There's so much to talk about, but I can't talk about it now because this is not the Save the Foxhole stream, even though I wish it were, but it can't be that yet because I need to go and I've got some surprises I want to make for everybody and also for myself. So I have to wait. And I imagine we'll do Heaven's Vault on Saturday, but I'm hoping Saturday evening, I'm going to have to do a lot of grading. I can get a bunch of work done on the stream stuff that I want to do because we shall see how it goes. But I mean, that's me being a Muppet, by the way, in case you were wondering. Because look, there's a lot going on. I feel like I've not seen you in a while, but Roleplay Reflect, Tacan Squadron, The Gamblers is back. I'm going to be I have scheduled 2 more RPGs on other channels that are coming at the end of the month and in March. There's another thing I'll be doing in March that hasn't come online yet. And another thing I'll be doing in March that hasn't come online yet. So I've got like 4 things lurking that are not on this channel. And I've asked some people if they would be my Scholar Talk, and they said yes. I just have to go and do the scheduling for it. So a lot of really good things are happening. I'm very excited about it. And you've seen us, but you were performing instead of communicating with the audience. It's not this. That's how I feel. It's not the same. Werewolf's like, who doesn't feel like a Muppet right now? I know. Yeah. Thought for State of the Foxhole stream. I wonder if those numbers being down coincides with the big wave of bot bans they did. Oh, you know Valtiel? I think so. And look, some people are mad they banned all these bots. They're like, you banned bots, my numbers are down. I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, obviously. Right? Funny Godmother, previously known as Muppet Aphrodite, does not feel like a Muppet for legal reasons. Yes. March is going to be very big, actually. March will be a big month. So the other thing that's happening, and sadly I'm a little bit behind, although I've recorded all the episodes, I just have to get them edited. I'm doing a pre-recorded thing, which is so quest calendar. Let me go get the calendar. Hold on, it's right over there. Hold on, let me show you. Whoop. Wait, I can't talk to you until I put my ears in because you might say something. And I know that's weird because none of you are all in audio, but like when there are alerts, that's you kind of saying hi to me. Like, and so I want to hear them. Anyhow, so before I left Seattle, I knew that I was going to be gone for like basically 2 weeks or so. Turns out it was a little bit more. And I wanted to do something. And I'd heard about this really cool thing, which is this calendar. It is the Quest calendar by Sundial Games. And every year, I don't know for how many years they've been doing it. I don't think that many, but they have a calendar out for this year, and 2026, The Souls of Saraku, and it is a solo RPG. And each day you do one. Ooh, this looks fun. Sorry, that's a spoiler. That's March the 2nd. But each day they have like a little 1 page of a quest that you do, and with the information. Like, so I thought that since I wouldn't be able to live stream, but I didn't want to like mistouch with you, I guess, in some ways. So I've been recording in batches and then editing in smaller batches and then putting out, ideally every day, although I'm a little bit behind now, one of these little sessions every day on my YouTube channel. So it's like my first YouTube channel. This is turning into a Stay of the Foxhole stream. No, I'm not going to do that anyway, but this has been going on and I've been putting them out. I haven't put out the one for today yet because I have to edit it still, which I will do after stream. And then I'll put it out. But anyhow, it's been really cool. And I've been enjoying this like small little adventure a day. And some of them take a little bit longer than others when they're like really big and involved, but some of them are like 5 minutes. And it's been very cool. And I've been enjoying it. So if you've not been seeing them on the YouTube, you should go see them on the YouTube. They're really fun. And they're making me very happy. And I just got the elf ears for my character, and yeah, that's all. I said Souls of Saraku. I have to say it the right way. Thank you, in my natural habitat. So, if I remember correctly, the name, I gotta take my ear out, one ear out. The name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name. I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F. On M will appear. And then I say Bo at a B. Then I say the name. Then banana, fan, or info. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. On a geek, but bunny geek, banana fan, for funny geek, fee, fi, mo, money geek. On a geek, Voltiel, but Voltiel, banana fan, for Voltiel, fee, fi, mo, Maltiel. Voltiel, the name game. Woo! Thank you both for those resubs. It is much appreciated. I am so pleased and happy. Thank you. Look, we're going to play, but I want to tell you a couple of things. One, y'all are awesome. Two, stuff is coming. I need more time. And I need to unpack. Things are all just clumped up, you know. But we'll get there, and I'm excited. I'm also really excited to run some AD&D 1E over the summer. I'm excited for things, but I have to do a lot of class prep from now until then. So we're playing Mutazione. Is there something else I wanted to tell you? There is, of course there is. I forgot what it is. But we'll get there. So, we're going to play Mutazione. And while we're playing Mutazione, I want to talk about the Beatles and class. Actually, and also something else. I have to tell you something else that's really important. So I had to go and teach. They asked me what I was going to teach in the fall, and it was going to be like my regular History of African American Music lecture class, and then a seminar. And I was going to go and teach one of my seminars that I haven't taught in a couple of years. I was thinking about either my 1960s spy class or my International Jazz Age class. But the problem is both of those classes involve a lot of older media. I mean, like for International Jazz Age class, I've got like films from 1930 something or other, a lot of like international things. But the newest ADA ruling, which is coming into effect, is every single thing that is online for any of your classes must be captioned and audio captioned. And some of this media is old, right? You know, and it's not captioned, which would mean I would have to hand caption it. And it would be hundreds of hours of work to hand caption all these things. So I just think there are going to be a bunch of classes I won't be able to teach anymore. I don't think I'll be able to teach my International Jazz Age class again. And I don't think I'll be able to teach my 1960s spy class again. There's just, I mean, if I were doing super mainstream American movies from the last couple of decades, then those things would already be captioned and it would be fine. But because some of my classes are historical and I do much older media, then I can't do them. I don't think I can teach those classes again. And I've got this bootleg copy of Oklahoma, and I have to take that out of my class too because that's also not captioned. So I had to come up with a brand new class because one of the older classes I was thinking about teaching, I just can't anymore because of ADA compliance. And I had to think about, I've got some really interesting and exciting multimedia classes, like my ludomusicology class, which involves playing video games. And I was like, I don't think I can teach that right now until I go through every single game and make sure that it's closed captioned. If it doesn't have captions, then I have to take it out. And some games don't. Like there are some games that are only music games with no text, but you also have to caption music games. Like any sound has to be captured. You have to go through and caption all, like you have to do audio description, all that stuff. So I was like, I can't teach ludomusicology again until I go through the entire syllabus and see what is salvageable in the class and what is not. So I had to come up with a new class that I could probably like 9:30. Ask for can't do it. The thing is, it's our TAs are only authorized 10 hours a week, and like the reason why I'm doing all this grading is because my TA, like I don't think I can. Our university has gone from like give them a flat fee, even if they work under, they can get it, right, to like everything has to be done by billable hours, which means I really can't afford to let my TA grade anything until well over past the halfway mark of the semester, because I don't want them to run out of hours and then not be able to come to class anymore. So I'm doing all the grading, and it takes hundreds and hundreds of hours to close caption things. And in addition, you have to do it well. Like if you're doing closed captions for real, right, where you're actually doing it the way it's like, this is a thing that you should actually have professionals do. There are standards. There are like professional standards for captioning. People are like, oh, just have like a, Zoom auto capture. It's like, well, but auto capturing is, oh no. Hold on a second, everybody. Let me come over here. Apparently, this is what's happening. I see what's going on. I was like, something is weird with my audio is what I noticed. And as I was wondering what was weird with my audio, it turns out there is an update to this important audio program that I have, which is why it was a little bit weird. I'm going to chat about life and all good things while I do this update. That is what we're going to do. So Werewolf says auto capturing is a bane of yours. Right. And that auto captioning doesn't do what it's supposed to do. It's also not necessarily accurate. And the thing is, right, here's the thing. And I know I'm complaining about this whole capturing situation, but what I'm trying to say is I don't like accessibility theater, I think is the best way to put it, right? Yes, I don't think I like accessibility theater, which is that people are like, oh, just go and do auto captioning and that'll be it. I was like, but that's actually not what accessibility captioning is. Accessibility
Name
captioning,
game.
hey, House of Dreams, accessibility captioning involves actually captioning it, making sure that there are name tags for who's speaking, that you also describe all the sounds that are happening. Like if there's music, you have to describe the music. It's not just like, oh, just let auto capture do it and then like that's it. That's actually not what proper captioning is supposed to be like. Proper captioning, there's also sort of best practices about how many words should be on the screen at a given time, how to organize it, how to do it. Like it's not, when people just go and do auto captioning, that's not really doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like they're basically faux doing it. And Werewolf says like numerous fail points for dialects, names, accents. Absolutely. Yeah, auto captioning might be able to do 10% of the work, but of course, one of the big issues, and I say this as a person who does music, but not just me, all of my friends all of my colleagues who do heavy science stuff, or even music theorists, that actually auto captioning does not help with music. Go ahead, put in a song with harmony, right, in different parts, and see what auto captioning does. It is very bad at singing at auto captioning lyrics, but it also doesn't capture the fact that if you've got like a doo-wop group and one line is doing this and another line is doing that, you have to caption that in a way to actually capture the fact that you've got multiple people singing. And it doesn't do that at all, right? So, and then of course, if you're talking with really technical language, it doesn't do that very well. So you can't auto capture. Like it's not going to do it, especially for a number of different things. And so you have to do it by hand. But also I have done a lot of research about how to do proper captioning. I'm still not an expert at it by any means, but it is a job that there are best practices for to actually do it right. And when I was doing I did a test hand capture, because when I taught the let me press this button. I'm going to press a button and I don't know what's going to happen to our audio, but we're going to see. Right. Yeah, I see. So there's been an update and I cannot complete it. And it's an important audio update and I can't complete it while I'm streaming live. Yeah, so we're going to think about this. Universities should have an in-house captioning department. So we can talk about that for a second. Exciting music, enchanting music, anticipatory music, some of my favorite captions. Yeah. Pantsless Tables is struggling because none of their Indian players' accents can be picked up by auto captioning. As an Indian-based channel, it's been a struggle. Yeah. Werewolf says, I don't want to think about the mess it probably makes with scatting. Yes. Hey, Hawkeye. So one of the things is about all this, right, is that there is best practices to do this properly. And I'm going to have to take the stream down for a second so I can update this sound thing, but I'll take this first. So there's this film that I use in my history of in my international jazz age class. It's called Tango in New York, and it's from Argentina. It's an Argentinian film from like 1935. It's a tango film, and I got it from questionable places because it's very hard to find Latin American films from the 1930s, but I found a copy, of course, and I had to digitize it, and I got it, and it's only in Spanish. It's not in English, and I wanted my students to be able to watch this film, which is about the jazz age, but from Argentina's point of view, with Carlos Gardel. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to hand caption this film for my students. I was lucky enough to find somewhere deep on the internet, somebody had created a transcript of the film and translated it into English, but I still had to hand caption the entire thing. It took a very long time. And it takes a long time, right? So if you think it's like a 5-minute song that you actually have to transcribe and do all the setup will take at least 45 minutes to capture. So for a class like one of mine, where I have 150, 200 songs there, that's 150 to 200 hours that I have to do on top of just my regular teaching to get everything captured. Now, you might say, oh, well, the school should pay for that. That's nice. The school has mandated we do this, but they will not pay for it. They say that if we want to pay somebody to do it, then we have to pay for it out of the departmental budget. But the cost of getting professional captioners would be hundreds of thousands of dollars for one class, and we do not have that budget. That would be well over our entire budget. And so really what this means is there's just gonna be a bunch of media that I just can't teach anymore, because basically anything old or obscure or underground or marginalized is probably not going to be something I can teach. I'm going to have to sort of go for a lot of mainstream things. It's going to be very, very, very difficult. Very difficult. Krellin says, Trooper, it is not best practice to update in the middle of a thing because updates may break things, so I shouldn't do it. I guess you're right. You're right. We will just not then. Let's but hope it's not going to go and be weird to us. Because that's the worry that I have. No, see, I don't think it's going to let me. It's triggered. It's triggered. I'm going to have to pause to update this one thing. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to hear me very well. So it's just one of these things where this mandate's in, but we can't afford to do it. And so, of course, the answer is that we individual professors should just do it ourselves. But it's like 200 hours for every class. And we're not trained in this. Luckily, because I do the streaming stuff, I have been doing some of this before. So I'm a bit better positioned to do it than other people, but I still recognize that I'm not an expert in captioning. Like, it's a professional job that people are skilled to do. So it's just it becomes when I go down for a second, I'm going to give you the prompt that you can put stuff in chat. The unfunded mandate is why we can't have nice things. Yep, absolutely. Want to hope for a grant to caption obscure media, but the problem is they're not going to. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars for one class for one professor. And we have many, many classes, and then there are many, many departments. You know what I mean? Like, that's millions and millions of dollars, and they're just not going to do it. They don't even pay us very well. It would be more than my entire annual salary just to caption multiple times more than my annual salary to caption one of my classes. So, yeah. And their response is, well, just auto caption. I was like, right, because you don't actually care about accessibility, right? That's the thing that bugs me. Like, I actually care about accessibility, right? They're like, oh, just auto. I was like, no, auto cap. If you actually cared about accessibility, you would not say just auto caption. If you knew anything about music or math, or chemistry, you would also not just say that as if it were so easy. So that's a little bit frustrating. That said, and I'm going to go pause, but I have to tell you the turnaround first. So here's the thing. So I had to think, what class am I going to teach? And I didn't have a lot of time to decide what I was going to teach next semester. Considering that the classes I wanted to teach, I probably couldn't without a lot of reworking. So I had to come up with a new class. I'm giving you homework for things to talk about in chat. And then when I'm reloading, then you can talk about it. So there's a class I've been wanting to teach for a while, but I just haven't put it together yet. And I thought this would be the perfect time for me to teach this class. And I'm going to have to start working on the syllabus very soon because I've got to because my students are going to buy stuff. So I have to get it ready. So a class I've been wanting to teach for a very long time that I want you to put suggestions in the chat while I update this sound thing is I'm going to teach a class on the concept album. Because here's the thing, it's 13 weeks, basically 12 albums. I will just tell the students, you must buy these 12 albums. And then we're good, because this requirement only thinks for things that I've put online. So I'll say 12 albums, and it's going to be on the concept album. And I think the first week is going to be Woody Guthrie's Dust Bowl Ballads, because people call that one of the first concept albums. And of course, I'm going to want to have like The Wall, right? But I'm thinking I really want a really good, wide selection of genres. And I'm thinking about how to complicate the idea of the concept album, because right now everyone sort of associates it with like basically 1970s rock. That's the concept album. But there's clearly more than one way of doing a concept album, right? Woody Guthrie's Dust Bowl Ballads is a concept album. Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald have some, like, Sinatra Sings of Love and Things is a concept album. The Wall's a concept album. But what about movie soundtracks? Is that a concept album? So basically, I'm thinking I want to come up with 12 concept albums that I think would be really, really good. We teach one album per week. And I think it would be really, really like a cool thing to talk about the concept album. So while I update this sound thing, which will involve me going down for like a brief moment, one hopes, if you would give me suggestions, Coheed and Cambria, give me some suggestions of things that you think would be really good concept albums for this class I'll be teaching in the fall. And I'm going to go down for like 5 minutes, I hope, and I will be right back. Give me suggestions, though. Hmm? I'm back. I am back, and I am making sounds. Good, great. Hi. So, thank you for waiting for me to get that done. It started updating kind of without my permission. I was like, oh well, it's cascading, so I have to deal with this, or it will all be bad. So I did. I have to pop out chat so I can put it in a place where I can see it better, which is right over here. Okay, I will have to check this out. Boom. Okay, good, good, good. Somebody said, I think it was Werewolf was saying that you want like a classic. And I think, of course, one of the classic ones is like The Wall by Pink Floyd or Tommy, a rock opera. Like those probably have to be there as well because those are classic concept albums. But there's some highlighter for sure. It was this Queen concept album about immortality. Here it was Flash Gordon. Do you go further back to the original highlighter Top Gun? I feel like if you want to go for albums that have that kind of thing, it might be what was that movie, The Big Chill? That had like that was an album that had a kind of like an important impact in terms of kind of those kind of weird soundtrack albums, movie soundtrack albums. Yeah, Bat from Forever, maybe. So like my point is, as I think you can all tell, there are a lot of really good options, but I could probably only do one film soundtrack like that. You could do Hadestown, I think, right? So you have to kind of, I want to be able to pick. Oh, and Hawkeye had a really good suggestion about that one from Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe. I think that'd be a pretty good one. So like you want to sort of, I want to hit different genres and different ways in which, like, there's the classic concept album where it's telling you a story from beginning to end, like The Wall, or Coheed and Cambria. But then you've got like the theme concept album, like Dust Bowl Ballads or Murder Ballads. Then you've got, like, I think there are a lot of different ways in which you can think of that concept album. And I want to hit as many of them as I can, right? Like, I think it would be really interesting to see, to sort of challenge what we think of. Like, we think we know what a concept album is and we think it's this. Okay, but what also about this? What about this? And I think that would be kind of neat. So I want to get multiple decades, multiple genres, multiple ways of doing a concept album. Like I think it would be really neat to do Poe's album Haunted because she did that in collaboration with her brother's book, House of Leaves. So that's kind of interesting. Like multimedia concept albums, that could be cool. Like interactive albums would be a concept I think would be kind of neat. So I'm trying to get like a good wide, like, and like concept albums from different, like Werewolf talked about like Bollywood film tracks, like film soundtracks, right? So I'm like wanting to get like a really good sort of set in there. I miss like all your feedback. I think the students could sink their teeth into the thematics of Highlander, The Crow, or Batman, even Spider-Man. Yeah. I think Post Haunted would be really, really good. And so like I think I want to hit different things. You know what I mean? Like, is there a really good, I want a really good K-pop album. You know what I mean? Like, but I have got to find the right ones that I think you can take a really interesting tour of different ideas and get something interesting out of it, you know? Highlander would be a better Queen soundtrack concept album, I think. Yeah. I just found this one that was like, it has like a, you know what I was thinking about actually? You know what would be interesting as a concept album? I again, you can only pick one in the category, right? But the category would be like benefit concerts, like Live Aid, Farm Aid, Live Aid, Farm Aid, soundtracks. They definitely are. Like there's a whole film music thing, but I think that's still a little bit different than a film soundtrack, of course. Hey Pretty actually has a reading by Poe's brother directly from the book. Oh, the Lilith Fair live album. Like, I think, I kind of like Farm Aid because that's like a sort of slightly forgotten benefit concert album, but Women in Music, yeah, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. You want that concept, right? There's like the album has some sort of overarching concept to it in some kind of a way, right? So I feel like the benefit concert would be pretty good. I don't think, and by the way, House of Dreams, absolutely. I think one of these visual albums is really important. Probably one of the Beyonce ones, because that was one of the things that really sort of boomed that concept up front. You missed, and of course Taylor Swift, like her, one of them I think would be really interesting. There's some folk albums that would be good. I think there are, and again, so this is why I really want to make sure that I get multiple genres in there and multiple decades, to really get it. Oh yeah, right. Fleetwood Mac Rumors. So, and I want something that's very modern. I want things for multiple decades. I want things for multiple countries. I want different ways in which you like. Sure, you could do the concept like American Idiot. It's a great idea. Like that's a great concept album, right? That's a very good one. The concept being messy relationships. I missed the first bit of the stream back. Did you? I didn't answer about Chapel Roan. Oh, I didn't. I did not see the question about Chapel Roan. I did not see it. Oh, someone's in there. Trans-Siberian Orchestras. Yeah. Beethoven's Last Night might qualify as well. Yes, I think it would be a good one, actually. So I didn't answer about Chapel Roan because I did not see the question. But she's super interesting, too. So I think basically, right, Kate Bush, Hounds of Love, Copper Glitched, right? Again, right, old school the tracks in order, tell a story, interstitial between the tracks, etc. Cashes at Folsom Prism is another good concept album, I think. The Rise and Fall of the Midwest Princess, I think it could be. And I think it would certainly be, I certainly think that The Rise and Fall of the Midwest Princess would be an interesting one to put on there. Because I think part of it is, let's put a bunch of things, if the concept album is an album that has a beginning, middle, and end, or that sort of fits within it, like it's trying to do, it's not just a collection of songs, but trying to sort of fulfill a larger concept. And we have obvious things that we think about, but I think it's really interesting to think about the less obvious ones. Like in the 50s, there were a lot of these albums where these singers like Sinatra or Ella Fitzgerald or et cetera, would do themes, right? The songs of Cole Porter or et cetera, et cetera. So I think that would also be very interesting. I also think Jesus Christ Superstar would count. So I think that there's certain things that you could probably do, but I would want to make sure that I basically only get one per category. Do you know what I mean? Like if we're going to do like an interesting, like a singer doing themed songs, we can really only do like a Sinatra or a Fitzgerald or a Nina Simone or a Tony Bennett or something like this, right? We can only do one of those, right? So visual album, we can only do one of those. Your classic concept album, the Tommy or The Wall, one of those, right? Kind of like prog rock concept album, one of those. Benefit concert album, one of those, right? So one each. Yeah, it'd be really easy to overload with one specific genre, right? Dylan absolutely did one, right? So I would want to make sure. That's right. Did one with Kilroy and Videos to Match. Exactly. So I really want, like, Hawkeye, for example, your example about the Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe was really good because I want to make sure I hit multiple genres. I don't want to load up on one genre or one decade. So I want to, and I'm sure there's some really good country albums that you could do that would work that way as well. That would be like an interesting thing. Like, I'm sure there's some really good country albums. There's certainly some good folk albums. Prog rock has 1,000 of them. Like, is there a really good metal one? Is there a really good contemporary pop? What are your concept albums for? Yeah, do you know, like, again, and I don't want to forget things like video games or experimental, sort of like, what do you call them? Cross-media collaborations? Intermedia collaborations, things like that. Dolly Parton, 95 and other work. Garth. House of Dreams. That one right there where he's Chris Gaines. That's a great one. As a matter of fact. I don't own albums, but I do. One I do own is Tapestry Revisited, which is a bunch of artists covering Carole King. Oh, Chrome, that's a great one. Carole Krellin, that's really interesting because Tapestry itself was like such an important album, but then the album, like a tribute album, that's also a really interesting concept. So for me, yes, that would be really interesting. That would be a really cool one to put on top of. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like I would probably want a live concert album, like something that's a really good classic live concert album that really does that concept really well. Yeah. Another CCM option is the Alarma Chronicles by Danny Amos back in the early 80s. Ooh, 80s. That's good. That's good, Hawkeye. More on the edge of a concept album, which is part of the assignment we've been given. Yes. Yeah. Right. Breadth and Width is really good. Wide Net. Mariah Carey's Lost Grunge album from the 90s. Oh, yeah, I remember that one. The Chris Gaines album. Okay, look, because what you want in my mind, right, for when you're putting together these pieces, since I can only have 12 albums total. That's my max, right? Because it's a semester is like basically 13 seminars, right? 13 classes. What you want is something that would give people something really interesting to talk about. That when you drop this one, plus side, there's a lot of good writing on it, but also things like there are interesting issues and themes and topics to deal with, right? So things like the Chris Gaines album is really interesting because it also helped ruin his career because people got mad that he did something other than country. So that's really interesting to talk about. Like, well, what does it mean that he did this other persona, that people got really mad about it? That's really interesting. One of the benefit, you can do something really good with one of the benefit concerts. That's probably really good. Strange Little Girls. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. That Strange Little Girls is excellent one. A Concert for Life, which was an AIDS tribute to Copper Glitch. That's a good one as well. Yeah. I was also thinking about the Red Hot and Blue album, which was the AIDS benefit in like 91, 92, which was a bunch of different artists covering Cole Porter songs with videos directed by a bunch of different famous directors, right? That could be really interesting. So yeah, and I would want something like oh yeah, Dolly's Rockstar. Oh, that's also a really good one, right? Oh, absolutely. And I'm also thinking about something like like people those tribute albums. I have one. Wait. If You Can Get It, the Gray album, right? Which was Danger Mouse, I guess it was, right? Who did this remix of like the White Album and the Black Album. Like, it's like, I think there's some really cool experimental things you could do. Also, Bjork has an album called Vespertine, which you play in an app, which I think is a pretty cool concept album there. That could be really neat. So like those albums that you actually have to play through in an app could be interesting. Because I would want to hit each of those things. I want to get like, and I know this is like a weird thing to say, but if there were like an album that were in 3D or smell-o-vision, I would want one of those, like something like that, you know? Oh, Copper Glitch, give it to me. What's one that you have? Tell me. You know, like, oh, the Chipmunks sing the Beatles. Ooh. Does the thing about the Dark Side of the Moon tracking well with Wizard of Oz skirt that line for you? I think that's actually, but I think that's part of it. I think so. Dark Side of the Moon, I think would probably be really good, right? Maybe the Grateful Dead, right? But again, I want to not just stick in the 70s, right? I want to make sure I can get. Now we are limited because a long play album doesn't happen until the 40s, so we can't really go earlier than the 40s. But oh. What about something like Kids Bop? That might be interesting. Like, we probably want like a children's album too. Some kind of children's album would be a good one of the 12 to have, because you probably want something like that. Americana 4, The Man Comes Around by Johnny Cash is other I can think of. Ooh. I wonder if that video game that Radiohead did would apply here. Oh, another good thought, right? So I think you're probably going to want a kids album, right? That would probably be important. Yes, some kind of kids album would probably be really good. Ooh. Mm-hmm. So I would put suggestions down in our Discord. Hail to the Thief by Radiohead. Yeah, I'm also thinking of like see, now you maybe thinking about Carole King. Yeah, so I'm thinking yeah. Ooh, Brutal. Ooh, the soundtrack for Brutal Legend. Interesting. Well, there was that album. Do you remember that album that came out? It was songs about Game of Thrones, but like contemporary artists. They all did like it was like Capture the Throne or something. It was like hip hop and contemporary artists doing songs about not from Game of Thrones, but about Game of Thrones. The Revolution Starts Out by Steve Earle. Also, I think Steve Earle has some prison song albums, right? Yeah, a full protest album's a good one. So you're thinking like protest album, kids album, live concert, rock opera, thematic, right? You had that one, right? So I think there's like if you have thoughts, put them down in the Discord under Media Musings, because I'm wanting to crowdsource a little bit so I can really get a nice wide spread of interesting concepts, right? How to do a concept album in different ways. Though the source content isn't great, there are a lot of Harry Potter filk music. Yes, wasn't there that one? There was like one that had to do with, there was a filk. First off, actually, I think a really good filk album would probably be really good as well. Wait, interesting question. Could you argue that the Mamma Mia musical album is a retroactive concept album? Ooh, that is a good question. So basically that gives you a jukebox musical, right? That becomes really interesting. So I hope you're seeing how this could be very neat, right? Like I think there's a lot of legs here, and you really want to pick really interesting albums wherein we can think about people are like, okay, concept album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is one everyone's going to bring up, right? Or Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. Like there's a lot of, they're musical. Also comedy albums. What about comedy albums? What about them? Do they count? What do we think about them? Right? What do we think about a comedy album? Oh, Dead Alewives, right? So I think there's something, oh, wait, sorry, hold on. The Christmas album, that's one. I'd have to pick a really good Christmas. Hold on. I'm not writing this down right now, but somebody write it down in the Discord for me. Christmas album, kids album, comedy album, benefit album, protest album, I wonder about like some kind of like intermedia album, right? Merle Davis Filk Songs of the Hills. Ooh, Copper Glitch. What a good call, right? Yeah. Ooh. So compilation albums, if there's a really good and interesting one that might do something fascinating, that could be interesting. You got 4 or 5? So I had kids album, kids album, comedy album, Christmas, kids album, comedy album, Christmas album. Yeah. It is going to be hard. Evening December was a Christmas concept album by First Call. Oh, that sounds really interesting. You're right. It will be hard to narrow it down, but that's for me one of the reasons why I figure if we can brainstorm a lot of things, I can think, okay, what are the good categories we're looking at, right? Annie Geek says, how about the band Arm Cannon? Their album Return of the Attack of the Legend of Pizzor is cover songs of recent pop culture, specifically video games and TV shows in the genre of nerd metal. Ooh, that would be fun. That would be fun. So, like, I think basically brainstorming so I can get good 12 concepts and then figure out what would be a good example in each of those concepts, right? Because I can't do 18,000 protest songs or 18,000 prog rock songs, right? Or 18,000 rock operas. So like finding out like, okay, this might be a really good example for this subcategory. Childish Gambino's albums are concept and topical, very political. There was like a good shout, yeah. But I'm also thinking about something like things you wouldn't necessarily expect. Thank you, Hawkeye. Please, would you some good gospel concept albums and put them in Discord? Thank you. Also, I know that if I look at the Dove Awards, I can probably find some of the big award-winning ones, but I kind of want a broader, like, you know, because the thing is, just because it is won a Dove Award doesn't mean it's the most interesting one. You know what I mean? Like something might win the Grammy, but not be the most interesting one for the class, you know? Okay, we're doing 18. Now, I would see if I were gonna. I would actually just do an entire seminar on protest songs. Is what I would do. But I'm gonna tell you something. When I do, we had somebody else who was teaching a protest song class, but I think he's retired, so that class might open up. But if I do a class on protest songs, because I have one in my back pocket. Oh, thank you, Hawkeye. I'd want to make sure that we think about protest in a really broad way, right? Like I would want to think about all sorts of different types of protest albums, not the most obvious ones. It's not all just going to be Bob Dylan, you know? We'd have to look at like the Goldbergs. I just bought it. I bought this album from eBay, which was this conservative college students in the 1960s, the Goldwaters, so that's what they called themselves, the Goldwaters, who made an album of 1960s folk songs in the 60s that were very conservative, which is like super interesting. And like I would want to make sure we had a really good range of pieces of music, right? So for me, it's always really important to really grapple with, like, look at a topic from all different sides to really get something out of it, and not like to really be like, oh, well, okay, well, what about this one then? Okay, but what about that? Love that. There's so many new protest songs. So that said, we are going to start now because we're here. Oh, I'll see you later. See you later, Hawkeye. We're in chapter 5, Swamp Island, which I feel good about. So I've got to, but I really, because here's the thing about doing a concept album. If we do a concept album class, which I'm going to do, I've signed up for it already, then we get to just sit with one album for an entire class session, for an entire week. We get to sit in one album, and I think that'd be really nice. I don't remember anybody's voices or how to play the game. So just, okay, what we do is we look at our calendar, and then we will know. Okay. Wait, swamp. Like, I bet there's some kind of like, okay, do you know what would be also a really good concept album? Another thing to put on the concept album class? You know those like weird Mondo albums like Swamp Loungecore that was happening like in the late 60s, early 70s? Or like sometimes a little bit later, like maybe I wanted like a new age album or one of these kind of like, I think you press buttons, I'm not sure. Okay, so sorry, here's the thing about, so do you know those albums that were like, this is probably actually another one to do. Do you know those albums that came out? There were things like songs for, I can remember every TTRPG rule I've played, but video games, Gone in a Week. Thank you, Werewolf. Tubular Bells, yes. Tubular Bells, I think, would be a good one. But I'm also thinking about, you know, those albums that are like music to make your child a genius. Those ones are like Baroque music for dinner parties. Like these kind of like I imagine like maybe like a Muzak album might be really interesting to add. Muzak, some kind of maybe like, I don't know, Songs for Airports, which is a good one. Beethoven for Plants, something like that, right? Like I think. Or maybe like one of the Whale Song albums that came out, right? But I think there's probably an interesting concept album that has to do with like music for airports or Muzak or, you know, I mean, actually right now you've got this, there are these playlists, right, on YouTube, music for studying, right? That kind of a thing. And that could be interesting too. Like, speaking of video games, what about the Bastion OST or Hades? Supergiant Games puts up incredible high concept work. They do. They're very good. Highly specific. Yes. Jock Jams. Ooh, Pope World. This is what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like Jock Jams would be to have something like that. One album that's like that would be really good. Right? Because I think that is a whole, people go off and they buy like this highly specific album like Jock Jams or Songs to Do Dishes For, like that kind of a thing. Like there are these kind of like weirdly niche, highly specific albums that I think, Valtiel, Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs. I would love to do an album like Narco Corridos. I think would also be really good. Yeah. I really want to put there's a rhythm country and blues. Country rhythm and blues, which is like duets between R&B artists and country artists from the 90s, which I think is a really good one. Yeah, so I'm thinking, oh, now I'm thinking about like baby metal or Dance Dance Revolution. I feel like we'll probably need some kind of like video game related one that would count, be interesting. Some kind of really weirdly Tales from the Topographic Oceans. Yes, 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 yes. I'm so glad that I brought this up with you all because I was like, I want to tell you about this thing. Because I think if you get, like songs for meditation, a very hippie sort of a thing. Also, if you remember from the 80s, 90s, there was that whole Putamaya sort of like world music compilation thing, like songs from the rainforest. That might be interesting. Yes. Freedom rock. So I think like weird compilations, operatic concepts, kids albums, Christmas albums, joke albums, parody albums. So we had our boat trip. Totally managed not to immediately blurt out the tongue baby secret. We've had a tongue baby secret. Hope Aylin tells him today secrets are hard. This is still in the morning. Still feel bad about arguing with Grandpa. I'll apologize to him when we get back from the trip. The boat trip was totally chill and exactly what I needed. Okay, here we are at midday. Tung's yard is a good spot for garden growing, apparently. I promised to grow Tung some woobjin root for his boat paint. Yoke said to go to the archive and hear about the secret code he's been translating for me. Okay, so I think we go to... So we have to plant things and visit... Oh, hold on. What is the... I just need to look at my settings. No. What I'm looking for is my controls, which I guess they just are what they are. I guess. Oh, okay. Well, I think we're good, I guess. I just feel like I want... Okay, I'm torn between going to get the secret code or planting, because planting I know will take time. So let's go and go to get the secret code first, I guess. Because that might get us... Oh, hey, look, people are talking. We should talk to everybody. I know we just walked past everyone, but we should talk to them. We should see if there are people to talk to first. I know. But, so we just got off the boat, is what happened. We just got off the boat 1,000 years ago. So let's take a walk to the left and then go back to the right to see if we can find any people to talk to on our way to get secret codes and plant a new garden. Chill. Ooh, there's my garden. Very nice. This is the music I planted. There we go. Oh, come here. It's thinking. It's thinking. Hey, Max, I was thinking about you. Just so you know. Even odd. Yeah, baby metal is a good example because the concept was J-plop times metal, right? That would be interesting. Remember when this... Oh, Werewolf, the Starbucks compilation CDs, who compiled them anyway? Something like that would be really interesting. These kind of weirdly... Yes, those kinds of compilation CDs I think would be good too. Witchbolt on YouTube does dungeon synth concept albums for playing during TTRPG games. Is there a concept album that was noticeably inspired by another concept album might be fun meta? Yes. I'm thinking about some of these answer backs, right? A lot of those things happen in 45s, but I bet there's something LP-wise you could do. Oh, you know what I'm thinking of, actually? I have one for you, Copper Glitched. Hey, Prax. Taylor Swift, was it, who did that album 1984? Was that her? Was that Taylor Swift? And then Ryan Adams did a cover of her album 1984. That wait. Rufus Wainwright redid Judy Garland's concert at Carnegie Hall, which could also be interesting. Also, I would like to know why Mutazione is hanging on me. It's giving me what's the word? Application not responding. I've got to force quit it and come back in because it was giving me application not responding, and I was like, Okay, we're restarting it. Hey, Mutazione. Oh, you know what? I should wait. Stop. Confirm. It's too late. I thought what I should do actually was there's a thing you can do in Steam where you just verify the files, and I thought I should probably do that, but it's too late now. It's probably. Oh, Up on the Roof, songs for the Brill Building. Luther Wright and the Wrongs did Rebuild the Wall and Bluegrass. Right, now you're making me think about the bluegrass covers of Iron Horse, right, who does bluegrass covers of Metallica. These are... This is probably because I didn't update. Continue on. Concept albums, and I want like a good... Hi, we're back. So we're walking this way, and we are going to talk to as many people as possible as we go to find the secret code, and then we can come back and plant a garden. I think we should probably... Nobody's here. I feel like we should probably plant the garden after we get the secret code. This is my initial thought. Ooh, hey, look. I'm going to get some seeds. There's a compilation, I think, of all the versions of Jolene. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But it's one of my... What was his voice? I forgot everybody's voice. It's one of my favorite kinds. Nip, nip. Tick, tick, tick. Oh, I don't know. Eeyore. Like this gives me Eeyore vibes. But it's okay. Everyone looks after me. Not tick, book, not. More of a concept band than an album. The band Tin Mask Men did a cover of did metal covers of 90s and 2000s mainly pop songs. Now you made me think actually about Spinal Tap. Like the Spinal Tap album, like the fake band. That is also interesting. This is Spinal Tap could be a good concept album because it is also both. Just noting it. Which just got a sequel. I need to see it. Mew. Spike. Oh. Could you pass the salt, the skooma? Every film. We need a really good one. Here you go, dear. Thanks, Mori. Enwa. Lovely waxwing curry today. So awkward. Thanks, sweetie. I'm getting some really fresh greens from that rain a couple days ago. So this is awkward. With all those old gardens being brought back to life, the whole place is positively blooming. Oh, this is awkward, everybody. Spike, please. No. Just leave me be. Maybe I should get you both some more blue bugs. AI doesn't do concept really. Half the song of any given album are originals. Yeah. A Mighty Wind would work if Spinal Tap works. Yeah. Ooh, one of the Deathlock albums would it be? Yeah. Deathlock with Metalocalypse. That would also be really interesting. Yeah. Oh, Weird Al. Yeah. Poor guy who was the composer, played drums several other was during the tour. So I ordered Don't Panic Button from Etsy, one of those included in the original Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy computer game, as a prop for tabletop game. Oh. Hey, Max Ryder, I was thinking about you because I wanted to tell you that I just got the Alone Against Nyarlathotep, a brand new, highly well-reviewed solo adventure of over 340 pages from the Miskatonic Repository, and I thought that you, as a writer for the Miskatonic Repository, also a lover of solo RPGs, also of solo Cthulhu situations, might be excited about this highly well-spoken of sandbox RPG set in Yorkshire in the 1920s that is also a Miskatonic Repository entry. I thought, I just got it. I'm excited to play it. Probably this summer, i.e. not right now, but I thought you should know about it. Come on, you two. Grudges aren't worth holding on to. Haven't you got music to play tonight? It's band night. It's okay, Maury. If Spike needs space, I get it. Ooh, awkward. Oh, awkward. Lovely weather today. Yes. And of course you'll have seen how beautiful dawn was. Real nice. Yeah, this is all the awkwardness all the time. Just all of it. All of the awkwardness. All the time. Oh, I just heard the sound of like a tambourine and I don't know why. Hello. Oh, the food album. Oh, nice. I'm excited about it and I know about it, but I haven't taken the plunge on that one. So I'm glad you've heard about it at least. Shug Off on the Roof. I just got the Howl of the Chimeras, a CSO box set from Shadowland Games. Oh, I don't think I have. I know I kickstarted something from them. Their Casablanca one, right? I need to alphabetize my game shelf. I do not have the time to do that right now, but I really need to. It is distressing me that my shelf is not alphabetized. I just need you to know it. Because if it were alphabetized, I could just look to the Call of Cthulhu area and see it. The Blessed and the Blasphemous is right down there. That's what I have. I have the Blessed and the Blasphemous, and it's right down the corner. Yeah. First unpack, then fine-tune the shelving. Yeah, I know. House of Dreams says, oh, I forgot to tell you, I won a copy of No Time to Scream, 3 Evening of Nightmares, a Call of Cthulhu adventure book featuring BIPOC authors at PAX U. Oh, how cool. Nice. I was looking at you've had it first. Right, yeah. Okay, yesterday we suffered a setback. Maybe we should take a day off, recover. So now's the time to leap into the action. I'm not very good at jumping. Fine. What market in our non-monetary economy are we cornering today? My legs are too little. Wrong accent. Snickerbacks. The little bugs that skate across the water? What you're going to do, harness them and offer swamp rides? I'm not sure if we should do that. Do you get freshwater mermaids? These little creatures are a bit bizarre. That's okay. Oh, wait, hold on. Getting some seeds. And also, I believe this is a salon. Maybe there's somebody in here people are in here. There's some drama. We can find out about it. Yeah, I was one of those who sent in scenarios with the same group that got published in No Time to Scream. Mine didn't make the cut, I guess. I don't know. I got paid for the writing, but again, didn't see publication. I can't quite make it. Well, keep trying, though, on your way. I never caught their name, and seeing the name made me cackle, because yes, those are 3 legs of sausage. Yes, exactly. Aylin. I cannot remember what accent I gave her, but we're going to go with The other woman, the one cries a lot. So I remember that. So I gave her kind of like a scandalized British lady accent. We're going to give her like, I actually think she was Southern, but she can't be now because I think I like Maury. Oh, but no, she's Southern. Maury's got like a kind of a Cockney accent. I'm remembering now. So Aelin is Southern-ish. I mean, it was a lovely song. I can't bear to think about it anymore. Please, let's talk about something else. Oh, well. Did you decide what to do about Grob? He's back this afternoon, right? Yes, I think I need to be honest with him. It's hard. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's got a big heart. So big you could drown in it. I'm gonna do it this evening after he's unloaded. I don't want to hurt him, but I've got to. This is saying that the baby is not his. You are not the father in that kind of, Ooh. These smell good. Maybe she washed them with Karoka sap oil? Look at us changing the community, thinking about concept albums. I mean, the class is not until next semester, but nowadays we have to give them book orders super, super early. So let's go to the archive and learn about a secret code. How bizarre. I don't know. I also sent an entire supplement. Got paid a good amount of money for it as a TC publication. Don't really understand that. Well, you know how Chasm, my understanding, is somewhat slow sometimes. House of Dreams says, I also have acquired a few new additions to my library now that the last year and 2024's Kickstarters are fulfilling. Midnight Muscalines came in, Dragon Slayers from Spencer Campbell, Blades in the Dark with Blades in the Dark deep cuts. I just backed Blade 68 because it's set in 1968 and it has spies. So I was forced to back it against my will. That's it. I've got some things that have come in Kickstarter-wise, but they're in the other room and I've not brought them in, so I cannot show you yet. Max Ryder says, started playing in a game I call Company Boys in Cthulhu. We're in 1844 NYC, New York, and in the worst neighborhood in Lower Manhattan, Five Corners. Ooh, nice. Where we're volunteer firemen. Ooh. We've had a session 0 and then fought a fire at a brothel that seems connected to a spontaneous combustion. It was a blast. That sounds amazing. Company Boys, one of the slangs for firemen in the 19th century, were also all Irish. That sounds like such a cool campaign frame. I love that. Well, now... Maury said you went on a bit of an adventure this morning. Are you all returned safe and sound? House of Dreams says, if I was working, I would back Blade 68, but I need to be responsible and will only back Kickstarter once I'm working again. This is smart. Werewolves and spies are good. Yes, werewolf spies are good. Prax says, oh, I do enjoy some fun spy fun. I just keep collecting spy games. I do not yet have the spy game that Susanna Grace did, and I have to get it because it's a 5e thing, but I like her. The art's great, and but not now because I have too many games to plot them. But this is what I'm also saying. Werewolf says, that reminds me, I wanted to get a new copy of Dracula because mine is in multiple pieces with at least one missing. Oh, you should hold off getting a copy of Dracula for no particular reason. It was just what I needed. Yeah, it was really chill. Just what I needed. I mean, no reason, but I might be giving presents to people sometime. And, I might have presents for people. Anyway, feeling a little tense. I cannot help with that, but perhaps I can provide a little intrigue to distract. That reminds me that I can send you the thing now. You have arrived back just in time. I finished translating the notes I found. By the way, I bought a wig. It's not here yet. Oh, I finally got to play Our Brilliant Rune, which is lovely. It's lovely. I like the D6 system, and the upstairs-downstairs setting is hella fun. Yeah. I mean, it's right over there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right over there. Very nice. Very nice. Just something I wanted to tell you. No, while the decoding was easy enough, it turns out some of the details are a little strange. Yes, wig. So this will be the first wig that I've bought that costs more than $25. It is not a super expensive. It's like $40. It's a $40 wig. $50 wig. This is my first wig that is not $15, $17, embarrassing dollars. I just tend to go for very cheap wigs because I don't need them to look real in person. But I got this wig. It's not arrived yet. I hope it arrives in time for me to get it together for this game that should start on the 28th of February. So I hope it theoretically will come on the 17th. But here's the thing. I've been looking at instruction videos about wig styling because I've got like a hair straightener press thing. And I do have a hair dryer from before. So I'm going to really try to actually do the wig and like do it, like not shake and go, but actually style it for real style in a way that like drag queen skills that I do not have. But I'm going to try and get this wig styled for this game. And I have to make sure, I'm pretty sure I still have some pink for my facial hair because I will need that to match the wig. Werewolf says, I'm finally going to get to play Good Society in April, so that's my next new game on my list. There is going to be a second edition of Good Society. It's not in Kickstarter yet, but it's coming to Kickstarter very soon. They're making a second edition, and I want to run it badly. Ooh, Werewolf. Do you know what would be really cool? I like setting Good Society in like different places. Like I said on a boat once, like a Titanic type boat, Northern England. I think it would be very cool to set a Good Society in like Mumbai. That would be really cool. Max Ryder says, I've been buying too many Star Trek replica prop thingies lately. I might have a problem, but I love them. That is fair. Prax says, conditioner and leave-in conditioner are the most important part of wig styling, and apparently dry shampoo takes the shine off. I will see what I can do about this wig styling in person. It's a home game. Oh, nice. Werewolf, now that I know, I can invite you. I'll put you on my list. That Good Site will be the new. I'm so excited for the new one. Next up, the in-between, then I believe my full Victorian Edwardian Cosmic Horror journey will be done. Then I can start planning my world-hopping game I want to run using Gaslamp, Call of Cthulhu, Candela Obscura, In-Between, Vazen, and Our Brilliant Union. Look, the new edition is coming out. The new edition, the second edition, is coming out. And I just want you to know that I'm going to be involved in that somehow. It's gonna happen. What did you find out? Being able to read it in plain language doesn't necessarily mean we can understand the meaning, you see. Nor am I totally clear as to why she felt it necessary to write in code. There's a new edition of Good Society coming out, Krellin. Yeah, second edition, Good Society is coming out. They did a whole survey. This is, here's what I want to say. Story brewers are really good at what they do. They put out a survey to all sorts of people who've played the game, run the game, gathered a lot of data, and they said things like, what is your favorite phase? And then why, right? And they did all this tabulation about what things people found difficult, what things they liked, and they did all how long are your game sessions, how many sessions per campaign. They did all this work to gather data that they can then use to go and sort of work on the second edition. And here's the thing I want to say. This is something I'm going to give them a lot of respect for. Like, I just think this is really, for me, this is like sign of a good designer. There's a kind of person that sort of designs by fan committee where they're like, hey, like I see this in the visual novel community all the time where somebody's like, hey, people who like visual novels, what should I do in my visual novel? tell me what to do. What do you want? And then they just take what people say they want and they try to do it all. And I don't think that's the best way to go. Instead, I think asking thoughtful questions that get to the things that you're looking for. Like, what things did people find difficult? Where you give them questions that are meant, this is how you do it in sociology, right? That are meant to get the information that you as a designer find valuable. And then you look at all that data as a whole, you aggregate it, and then you do analysis of that data and you figure out, okay, I think this is where we need to go. And they just put out a video where they go over the results of their survey and they talk about what the survey said and didn't say. And so they do some analysis of the survey to talk about their findings. And I was like, oh, look how smart they are, right? They're using this as an opportunity to gather data that they can then use when they are thinking about how to revise and create this new edition, as opposed to just like polling people, right? You know what I mean? Yes. I hear you. Do you know what the theme for RPR season 2 will be? I do not know yet, Rissa, because we're going to start RPR season 2 in January of 2027. Since we're going to do basically one season a year, because it's about 6 months, right? So we're going to do one season a year, and it makes sense to start this season in a time that makes sense. Everyone can think, oh, this is when it starts. It has to make sense in some kind of a way. So we figured if we start in January, it'll be after the new year and we'll end before we won't be running into a lot of like holiday problems if we do that. So we're going to start the next season in January of 2027, which means it'll be like 8 months, I guess, 7-8 months before we start the next season. But if we do it this way, the reason why we haven't decided the theme for the next season is because if we decide it now, we're going to change our mind when we get closer. We're probably going to go and have a meeting about it 2 months out. So sometime in the fall, late fall-ish, mid to late fall, we'll get together and see where we are at that moment. Like, what is the thing that is really speaking to us? And then we'll go and do all the logistical work to get that set up. It might be 3 months out because it takes the logistics for Roleplay Reflect are not insignificant. They're not. There's some ways in which they're not bad. It's just because everybody only GMs like one cycle, which is pretty chill. But as the organizers, we have to the first thing we have to do is find a GM that can be for the entire 6-month cycle, right? So we have to find the right GM, right? So there's like a whole process of getting everybody read on, getting all the new. We have to do there's a bunch of stuff. We've done things to make it swifter and easier, but deciding now what the next theme will be will not make any sense because we won't know, I don't think. Because what if something happens between now and let's say October, November, October. What if between now and October something happens and we know that we now need to do X, right? So before we start making all the assets and inviting people and strategizing, we're probably going to wait until October, September, October, November. November's too late. November is way too late. September, October, before we do our next meeting and decide what the theme is going to be. Because we just did sci-fi, so not sci-fi, something category-wise that's not that is probably going to be the way to go. Small town eldritch horror. Ooh, Doctor Who classics. Oh, that sounds. Oh, Doctor Who. I'm with Padme. Committees aren't always the most effective form of decision making. Thank you. Hear me out. So we actually have cosmic horror as one of our sub themes, because the thing is, horror is just not specific enough as a theme, right? Because I've got at least on my shelves 3 or 4 folk horror games right now. Holler. There's there's a whole slew of folk horror games that came out just in the last 2 years or so, 2-3 years. Old Gods of Appalachia, Holler. There's maybe 2 or 3 more. So that's one subfield. That's one that we have written down. But also Cthulhu, sort of the kind of cosmic horror, that kind of Lovecraftian cosmic horror is another one. There's just so many sub themes of horror as well. You know. So our list, we brainstormed a list and it's not even complete. And I'm sure that list is prodigious. It is our brainstorming list for possible RPR topics is, I will tell you. So I'm looking at a provisional list of 83 topics. 83 topics. And that is just the brainstorming part where we're like, we didn't even, like, this is not exhaustive. We stopped at 83. We're like, you know what? We've hit 83. We should probably stop brainstorming more topics for now. But there are already still more topics in my mind that are not on that list of 83. Wizards. Yes, right. Like Twin Peaks or Outer Range, right? So again, wizards. And here's the thing, just so you know, the themes that we've been working on are they vary in the way they look like. They're not just genre. Like sometimes they're genre, like space-based sci-fi, which is the one we're doing right now. But sometimes they're things like interesting death mechanics or diceless or like, so like we brainstormed so many different ways of coming about what would be an interesting theme. And it's not always genre. Sometimes it's genre, but sometimes it's mechanics. Sometimes it is like, did I actually put this down there? Hold on. It's one of the ideas that I had, and I think that I put it down there, but what if I didn't? Hold on. Overpowered PCs was another one. Is it in there? Is it in there? If it's not in there, I really want to make sure it is in there. Right. Okay. I didn't put it in there, so I'm going to put it down there right now. And that is one-page RPGs. Maybe it is in there. Is it? Because I feel like that's an interesting one to have in there. Oops, that's not how you spell that word. Yep, it's in there. One-pagers. Like those, like the micro-light RPGs that are like just one page or one, like you could fit it on like an index card. That is also really interesting. So like we've got, so again, the themes we have for RPR, currently 83 of them are very diverse, very diverse. And it makes me so happy. I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you. But also quotes like wizards, again, things like that. Sometimes it's like it's a very wide ranging, like it's, yeah. Until I have time to request priority schedule for other things. I've got something coming on Sundays in March. Note it. Horror is such a big bucket. Oh my God, I watched this great video where 4 different wizards from 4 different systems did a battle royale. It was hilarious. Yes, wizards could mix World of Darkness Mage, Ars Magica, something in a wizard school. Absolutely, right? Wizards is a very good theme, right? Like wizards, it's a great theme. I love it. I love that. And that's like another good example of the kind of diversity that we're thinking about, right? Because it's not just theme. It could also be things like GM-less or troop style or wizards or war games or, you know, like so many different sort of ways of approaching the topic. Games with interesting death mechanics, right? Like just really kind of like what would be really interesting to explore and compare and contrast for 4 cycles is really what we're sort of pondering in our way. We need to get to 100. Comedy, Onigeek, absolutely comedy. Absolutely. And I think Simon already has an idea of something he would like to do. That actually seems relatively same. Yes. But they want to do 1 RPR a year. Honey Heist, Lasers and Feelings. Games about soup. That's not a good one, but it is games about soup. You actually see the things Werewolf Feels. Yazeba's Bread and Breakfast. There are some like there are games about soup. I think Prax has one. Prax has a game about her mom's the cookbook known as Cookbook. I'm going to tell you, you could probably actually do 4 games about soup. You could do it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Amber, Trubisky, Greg, yes, right. Superpowers, absolutely. Young people should be exposed to Amber. I've written see, Prax has written a game about cooking, card-based games, games about food, right? So like there are generics, pulp, so many things. So anyway, there are like 83, 84, 83 topics in there. And, you know, Manny was, as a principal, very transparent in how she communicated. Mecca is also on our list. Mecca is on our list. Games about Fae. Daggerheart has a campaign frame based heavily off of Delicious and Dungeon, so you could put that in. Monster from Within for all of us werewolf fans. You could also use Monster Hearts in there. Tarot-based games. I want to do, I don't know when we'll do it, but I would really like to do, one of the ideas I think would be kind of fun, I don't know if we'll do it, but I think it would be fun to do the sort of post-OSR scandal D&D Heartbreakers, which would be like Daggerheart, Draw Steel, Pathfinder 2, Daggerheart, Draw Steel, Pathfinder 2. Tales of the Valiant, Draw Steel, Daggerheart, like those like Faye's good, absolutely. Gothic horror, in cyberpunk, of course. But what there's basically a bunch of these games all came out right in the wake of the OGL scandal, or around that time frame. These sort of like D&D contenders, and I think it would be really kind of interesting to do a bunch of those all for one. I think that'd be kind of fun. So while brainstorming, how many times did Lindy say vampires? It certainly did happen. Vampires were certainly mentioned. They were mentioned, but also it is a good theme. That's my other dream series, Fantasy Heartbreakers. Y'all should do it too. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the things I really, really want to do. But that would be separate from an OSR one, which is also on our list, right? Because OSR games would be different ones, right? I wouldn't do, like with OSR games, you'd want to just be like Castles and Crusaders or Old School Essentials, right? Like you really dig into the OSR and do some real OSR ones, which would be very different from the Fantasy Heartbreakers. Yeah. I feel like instead of cyberpunk, it should be dystopias. Well, I mean, if we get to play RPR for like 100 years, we can do all of them. I've got a really good suggestion for cyberpunk style. Well, I wonder, we could also do steampunk or like Victoriana. Oh man, if we did Victoriana, we could do Space 1889. Hey, VTM, Monster Hearts, Urban Shadows, May I Enter? Would be a wild idea for a vampire. Historicals in the past. I mean, published in the 80s is all published in the 80s, right? If you had only the time, you could do all the ideas. That's true. Protest games, punk games, Victoriana. Like, there's so much. And here's one of the things, though. This is one of the things we like to do when we come up with the theme. So like the three of us, Simon, Lindy, and I, come up with a theme, and then we come up with a short list of GMs that we think would be really good for that theme. And then we three brainstorm to make sure that we can think of at least 4 or 5 games that would fit into that theme. Then we three pick ones that we think would be interesting. And then when we invite the fourth person, the GM, they get to pick their own game. Like, we do not tell them what game to pick. They decide what they want to do. So one of the cool things about it is that while we could think of a bunch of things, we might be like, oh, this would be cool, this would be cool, this would be cool. And then we invite somebody and we're like, Pope, would you GM like theme vampire? You know, so-and-so's doing this. Lindsay's going to do some Unhallowed Metropolis. I'm going to do Night's Black Agents. Simon's going to do Vampire. What would you like to do? Then you pick some random vampire game we've never heard of before. That's so cool, right? So that there's one of the things that's really neat is that each time we get to have some kind of like cool surprise, right? And each one of the GMs picks their guest player. So like, I don't know who Lindy will pick for the guest player, who the guest GM will pick for their guest player, right? So like, we each get to pick our own guest player, and the GM gets to pick their game that they want to put into the theme. So there's a way in which it kind of gets, collaborated all the way down, and we get to have surprises all the way down. Because I love that. I got to play with Casey for the first time, and how cool was that? And I'm so happy I was able to bring Prax in for my cycle. And I just think, like, I just really love RPR. Mani was, as a principal, very transparent in how she communicated, but perhaps the date might suggest... I'll ask about the date. When did she write them? Well, it appears to be around the time that the expedition of scientists arrived on our shores. The one that included your my grandparents were scientists. Your grandparents. While she, along with everyone else, was initially very welcoming of their presence, it soon became clear that overall their interest in our land and knowledge was... How do I describe this? We were not subjects who could welcome them to share our knowledge and resources, but rather objects to be studied. Oh. Were they rude? I'm going to read this. No, not, I believe, intentionally. That perhaps is even worse. Anyway, Mani references 7, what I believe she refers to as moods, and something about how they are crucial to the balance of the local ecosystem. She also reports that the scientists showed great interest in the papu tree, and that she was concerned that they would interfere with... it is very dangerous, you know. There are terrible creatures guarding it. Guarding what? Oh, I don't know if I'm the right source for this knowledge. Though, if Nono is sharing his practice with you, perhaps it is better to inform you sooner rather than later. You should go and speak to Jella. It's much more their domain. I believe they're in their cave lab usually at this time of day. Yes, go to them. We got through conversation. I'm sorry, I'm feeling a little peculiar. I will disappear into a book and emerge rejuvenated, I'm sure. So, we're going to leave, but I'm going to just take this moment to catch up on chat. Because that's what I'm going to do. Eat the Reich, Eat the Reich. Oh, Tales from the Brinkwood. We're talking about vampires. Tales from the Brinkwood, Eat the Reich. There's so many good ones. Good Society Dracula. Oh, that, yeah. Space 1889 is a permanent waiting for table game of mine. Oh, so good. I feel like Trooper deserves unlimited time, but maybe not exclusively to make cool shows. I would like unlimited time to exclusively make cool shows. What I'm telling you is if I win the lottery, I'm making shows all the time. That is what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. I have a book. I have the book, have never gotten to play it. It's called Altered Carbon. Yes. Altered Carbon. I've heard of that one, actually. I don't know if I have it. I might have gotten it in a bundle. Ooh. I have a soft spot in my heart for RPR as a community building thing, you know? Prax says, Trooper, still happy about that after all the Reddit messages this week for a 2-shot? Absolutely. Are you kidding? I love player enthusiasm. Epistolary games is another really good one. I also love random messages. Epistles, good times. I desire a cave lab. There's Good Society and that game Trooper and Lindy in Space. Letters. There's more. There are more. There's one that I really want to try to. I have it. I got it. I purchased it. It's on my desktop because I think it might work well as a community game on Discord. But I'm researching. It's old. But I think it. But I have to it's putting to the side because I have to get some other things done first. But you know. Yeah, I need unlimited time and budget. It's true. Hey, Artie, how are you? Yeah. Ooh, also, so much I want to do. So everything in this archive was collected by Mani? Huh. Look, I sent many messages to both Trooper and Simon over the week because of this. Am I mad about it? I'm not mad about it. Not mad about it. Not mad. Okay, so they want us to talk to Jella. Which, you know, I that's fine. But before we do, I feel like we could, probably grab a few seeds. Now, look, one of the things I want to tell you, though, is that we do have to build... Music's changing. Is this the top of an abandoned mall? We do have to build more, a new garden, but I feel like building a new garden is going to take time and advance the time. Does this look different to you, or has it just been too long since I played? Does the world look more... Not this place. This place does not look more green. I'm just curious to see if it looks like we are making the world a better place, the island. Because we have made 3 of these 7 gardens, these moods, so I kind of feel like we're doing a good job. It feels to me as if. I have, hello. Oop. Is that Papu? I think it is the Papu tree, and I've got some questions about the weird eldritch beings that are going to awake. Those are just questions I have. We're just doing a little mosey. Ooh, just a little mosey around before we talk to people, which I think is fine. Been struggling with depression a lot lately, but other than that, not too bad. Yeah, hugs to you, Artie. It's a hard time at the moment. There's a lot going on. And, we got to keep on keeping on. That's the best we can do at the moment. Because I just feel like there's more life than there was before. I can't prove it. But I'm hearing more musical sounds. And I feel like I'm seeing more things, like more little animals and creatures hanging out. Like, I just feel like we are bringing life back to this place. Again, I cannot prove it, but like, listen to that sound. I just think we're doing something here, and I cannot prove it, but this is my belief on the matter. That's what I think. Let me, I need to, what do we got here? I think that's something that both tend to enjoy. My memory is bad enough that I don't remember what it looked like at all. That's fair. But sometimes I know that there can be too many ideas for a short shot. Case in point from Cover with Love. Wishing that eases the grasp. Yeah. Artist says, Prax, I don't think there's such a thing as sweet ideas when it comes to Trooper. And the thing is, there's always ways to find ways to incorporate things here and there. And even for me, it's also about deep character work. If there are things I know about my character that maybe don't ever come out on screen, but they inform how I play. And as a GM, if I know deep things about your character, I can have those things inform the world, and they may not be said overtly, although sometimes they are. You never know. But they always matter to me because it's there's deep character work I find that it's a part of how I like to play, right? Just kind of knowing, is it cherry red or rust red? For me, right, there are these things that I know. I'm going to tell you something. I will tell you something. Well, it just starts a one-shot, and look at it now. And I just finished all the preliminary rolls for the fallout of 3 Witchers and a Baby. Werewolf says, that's how it seems from the outside to your character work. Yeah. I like to know my motivation. It's really important to me. I do like to know my motivation because it helps. It helps, right? For me, at least. And as a GM, it really helps for me to know where players are coming from because it means that I can... But why would you take the bus when there was a monorail? Something that I find... Ooh, hey, I'm a seasoned explorer. So I like to... Character work does matter. So for me, one of the most important things for me is to give my players just some nice doomy looking ruins. Give my players interesting choices. But the thing is... Oh, are you hanging up on me? Are you hanging up on me? Let me see. Hold on. Not you all. You all are fine. But I mean the game. Are you getting weird on me? Let me see. It stopped responding for some reason. I really need to, what's the word? Validate these files. I have to quit out of this one. Luckily, it auto saves, so I think we should be fine. So for me, I will tell you this as I'm restarting that. For me, one of the things that's most important is, let's confirm. And by the way, before I restart it, because we do have a little bit of time left, I'm going to just, where are you? Is it under properties? Installed files? Verify integrity of game files. I'm just going to do that while we are chatting. Just going to do that. You have to know what the characters want to be able to... Thank you, Krellin. Thank you, Krellin. You have to know what they want to be able to tempt them with a bad choice. And it has to be the right choice, right? Because sometimes there's like really... It's like when Stiver's character, I knew that the best way to tempt his character in Kolos was to have somebody be very nice to him and like give him soup. And that might not have been the obvious thing, but I knew his character so well. And he had such a strong idea of his character that one files failed to validate and will be re-inquired. See, look at this. Okay, I knew there was something weird going on. That's all right. We are going to take care of this right now. So they just, look, it just happened. There was a weird thing going on and it looks like they fixed it. So I'm very glad that I did a little bit of a check. So I feel good about that. So it's like, I think that it's one of those things, right? That people think, oh, these are the motivations. This is how you tempt someone. But you have to find out what will tempt that particular character specifically, what it is that character believes and thinks. Now, if the player playing that character does not play that way, plays more archetypal, then you don't have to worry about that. Like if they're playing archetypal, then you just give them the archetypal stuff and it's going to be fine, right? But if they're not playing archetypal, you really have to know their character so you can give them a very specific sort of temptation that will really hit them, specifically that particular character. So you need the right players for it, but so even if the audience doesn't see it at first, it does matter for me. So after this cycle, you're all going back to doing an 8 to 10 episode run from each of the previous cycles so we get more of those characters. Oh, Artie, I want those characters back. Yes. Technical difficulties seems a theme for game streams. I don't even know why it's being weird today, but it is being weird. So we are going to note that at least. And I guess at least we're here together and it's good to get ourselves ready. What are you doing? Let's confirm that. Now I'm going to try it again. We're hanging out. This is our first time playing video games back in a bit, and Steam is being weird. It's fine. Well, I think for Tekken, you'll have your choice of bad choices. What bad choices could you conceive of? None. I'm a bit of a character motivator. I've tried to play archetypal, but then I always break the archetype. 1 word, 5 letters, daddy. So, House of Dreams. I'm in my Take Big Swings era. I think it's because I've been playing a lot of streamed one-shots. Artie says to Prax, I don't know a homewrecker, a poster child that wants to be bad, and a trader that actually had a family. It's fine. It's fine. And so for me, by the way, it's stopping. We're getting ready to get it going. It's so funny because I can do it. I can do the archetypal thing, but it's usually for a one-shot, and it's usually a game where that's what it is. Like we're doing a one shot of like a D&D one shot, where I've been a number of like D&D charity one shots where the brief is make a 3rd level character and that's it. And you're like, okay, go big, go bold, go archetypal. That's what you're doing, right? Give it a little bit of a twist. So I have a little bit of fun, but you know what I mean? Like there's no time for that kind of depth. Here it is hanging out. Let me force quit you, Mutazione, so I can try to get that going. And let's see. I do not know why Steam is being so ridiculous. You know what? Let me check for updates. Steam, do you need updates? No, it does not. Great. So now I'm just going to go and we're here hanging out. We're fine. I hope that you don't mind chatting with me about all the things, as we did verify the files though, so we will get there. Um, you know, um, I love how you think that I won't be the problem. No, you're the responsible one. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what it looks like on paper. That's what it looks like on paper. You are the responsible one. Although you did punch somebody out in, uh, maybe you're not the most responsible. It's fine. I wouldn't worry about it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Uh, or basic PBTA game one shot. Yep. Yep. I used to play games like Minefield, which comes from my World of Darkness LARP trauma, and playing with punitive GMs for so many decades. So I used to have meltdowns when other players would take big risks and risk the success of the group. I'm going to finish reading chat, but then I'm going to get back to that as I'm very secretly um, looking at just double checking, properties. We're going to make sure one more time. We're going to just verify the integrity of the game just to make sure it's going. I'm going to come back to that thought about success. No, Prax. I mean, I think he will be the bad decision, not the one making them. I sometimes get tempted with depth. Other times I'm tempted by simplicity. I always feel like you could be like simple can be deep as well, if that makes any sense. If it's like an honest and true simplicity, like playing a character, everything has been successfully validated. Looks good. Let's hit play. I think playing a simple character really well failed to process for this game OS error 0. What is that about? Here we go. Hold on. It's being funky. I'm going to how about if I installed files, verify integrity. You should tell me it's fine. It's being a little weird. That's okay though. We're hanging out and we're just checking. Now I realize that if no one does anything, then the plot never moves forward. See, there's like so much that I want to talk about this in a second. Sometimes your character surprises you. I love that. I love that. I see your character being the one that is encouraging everyone in all the bad choices. Someone needs to pull the trigger or the GM is stuck doing it. So now I check in with the table and the GM, ask if it's okay to take a big swing, and once I get by and I go ham. For me, it's always about like, what is the kind of game that we're playing, right? Trooper, remember what happened the last time I was the responsible one? Not the Ravnos' fault. It's true. Crone says, my Thin Blood character was supposed to be so gender fluid, they had the formula that lets Thin Bloods gender their identity overnight, but they got involved with a woman who was very sapphic into femme, so now they're a she and have just been a she for months now. Oh, so interesting. I bet there's a lot in there, feeling-wise. World of Darkness LARP drama. Mm-hmm. So thank you, 30. The game is like, no, continue your conversation. This is, on-screen celebration. I've got something. I've got gifts to give you all later. So here's the thing. If I uninstall and then reinstall, will that lose my saves? Probably not, right? Keep the saves in the Steam cloud. All right, I'm going to try to launch again before I go for the next stop, which is install and uninstall. Yeah, it should keep my saves, right? So it's going to do its thing. We're going to see how that goes. We're going to see how it shapes up. Otherwise, we'll have to be a bit more radical about it. But I'll say this. I'll be playing the console on Saturday, so this should not be a problem. Okay, so we were talking about big swings and big moves, right? So I am a very specific... Be more confident saying that it will keep them if you're on Windows. I haven't Mac'd in over a decade. That is fair. Werewolf says, this is why I'm glad my first game back was a one-on-one, to relearn my ability to take risks and make choices rather than try and fade. It's a good lesson to recover, to relearn the pattern of back and forth choices, and now I'm rambling. Nope, that's not a ramble. That's brilliant. So I think what I was going to say is, I can play in these other modes, but in the space where I'm at, I was ruined by D&D Redbox, was it Menstner, the 83 red box, because our editor there said very clearly there is no winning or losing in ruined Max, said that there is no winning or losing in a role-playing game. He said that if you die, that doesn't mean you lose. If you fail, that doesn't mean you lose. That there is no winning or losing. There is only playing and having fun, enjoying yourself. And that message, that there is no winning or losing, that was the first thing I read when I first started reading RPGs. And I internalized that so hard. So hard. So I just don't tend to think in, like, there are exceptions, which is like when a game is like somehow weirdly imbalanced. But generally speaking, I just internalize that so hard. So the idea of like, oh no, the group won't be successful isn't really, when I'm in my element, that's just not how I think about it for the most part, right? Like if the group doesn't do the thing, that doesn't mean that we didn't have success. It just means we're telling a different story. And that kind of particular sort of emergent storytelling way of thinking about things that I got from the D&D Red Box Basic back in 1983 is so hardcore ingrained into the way that I think about things that I find that I often get into, it becomes, I'm made aware of how differently I think than a lot of other people. In both like narrativists and also gamists are just often just not thinking about things in that way. They're like, oh no, this will ruin the plot. This will ruin the story. What do you do? This will ruin the story. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't think about it that way actually, right? The story is just what happens. Now, when I'm asked to play in these other modes, I will, right? I will do the things that you're supposed to do for those modes of telling, but I mean, Rissa's here with me right now, right? We had entire sessions of the game that we were in together, the Transhuman Space game that we were in, where it was just dinner. People just had dinner the entire time. And we didn't think of that as not playing the game or not advancing the plot. We had dinner the entire session, right? That was it. Like, it's just a very, like, and for me, I think you have to make a character that has a goal, that has a motivation, and then you play. There are asterisks, of course. But it's just always interesting to me because so often I'm looking at GM advice that talks about these very big problems. I'm like, oh, that's just not a problem for me though, actually. Right? Like so many things like, well, what happens if they don't get the clue? Then the story stops. Like, yeah, I don't think about the story that way. What happens if they die? Yeah, there are these ways which I just don't tend to function that way in my mind. And I just have to I always have to make sure that I switch over to like the other style if I'm being asked to play in that style. But so there are many things that people might find like, I had a player once say to me, oh, well, what do you want me to do this session? I was like, no, I don't want you to do anything in this session. I want you to do what you want to do this session, because you don't have to do what I want you to do. I just kind of want to just give me a heads up, but I don't. Yeah, it's just, just one of those things. Just one of those things. Yeah. I'm personally looking forward to the evolution of Seasons of Death. Yeah, I like that. It changed the story. That's all. That's it. Right? Who doesn't love a good dinner? Love a good dinner. Love a good dinner. That was Road's home. Yeah, my Thin Blood session today consisted mostly of my character and their girlfriend going clothes shopping together. And for me, that's also story. That's like not wasting time. That's not like that. By the way, Mutazione is being weird. Let me confirm that exit. It's stopping. I think while we're here, I'm going to just uninstall and reinstall because it's being a little bit weird, obviously. We'll just check it out, see how it's doing. Max says, a villain got away from my Down Darker Trails group. Didn't gloat, didn't posture, just left as he had accomplished what he wanted. But they all saw it as having lost. He did have possession of one of the PCC's bodies. So, right. And so for me, like, again, I have been critical success on cooking leading to marriage proposals. Yes. And just for me, having internalized the idea that there's no winning or losing has fairly profound impacts on how I see gaming. And I'm always reminded how I see gaming often quite differently than people who that was not their first introduction to the hobby, right? That particular message, it's quite interesting how profound that has shifted for me. House of Dreams says, I think that is so healthy. When I read the basic black box, I didn't take that away as a kid. It was in the red box. I think I'd played so many board games and video games, I got a rush when I reached level 2 at the end of the adventure. You know what's interesting? So I played a bunch of video games, but the video games I played were arcade games where you could never win. Not ultimately, right? Because there was no ending to those games. You just played as long as you could. You know what I mean? Like, and there's something also even about like like super old school high deadly D&D also sort of gave you that you just play as long as you can and then you make a new character, right? Like there's a certain kind of like, well, this is how it is. Max says they figured a way to follow and possibly catch up, and I let the dice decide what happened with luck checks. They pursued him for like 3 more sessions, almost caught him, and then were tricked into going to Olympia where they were drawn into another scenario and finally lost him. Well, they lost him for now. You have maybe they will get him later. Nobody knows. Anything could happen, because that's the thing. Anything could happen. Anything could happen. Now, let me get back to, I'm going to reopen Steam. Just shut it down. Werewolf says, see, the loss and falling into compulsion in Motor City, some of the funnest RP I've had in a game. Absolutely. Yeah, Cass failed to do what he wanted to do, but he also displayed strength, power, things that he didn't get when trying to be a good prince. Right? And that's the thing that I think is really interesting for me. The idea that what looks like failure could be success and vice versa. You could get what you want, but then realize you didn't want it, or lose what you thought you wanted and get something different. Like, and it's, for me, there's something about, I'm going to manage, let me uninstall, I'm uninstalling Mutazione, and then I'm going to reinstall it. We will only have like a hot second, but I think it's good to, there we go. Good thing to just get it all fresh and clean while we're here, trying things out. And for me, I think that's the key to it all, right? And this is like, I think that's like failure and loss really happens when you have like weirdly punishing GMs or weirdly punishing players, where things are, because the truth of the matter is, I find if you understand the complexity of things, and I don't mean like being smart, I mean, okay, it's like the song by Garth Brooks, The Dance, you know, where like Garth Brooks lost this love of his life, right? And then it's so sad, right? And then the question is like, well, would, you know, but it's a question like, would he do it all again if he knew that it was going to end up so badly? And he's like, you know, I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I might have missed the pain, but then I would have missed the dance. Right? So the idea that there's always something valuable, even in what might seem like a failure, there is something valuable to get out of it. Now, if you're playing a game where nothing comes out of success or failure, then that's different, right? But the idea that your character could fail to do a thing, but that leads to some larger understanding or something interesting. And I don't mean fail forward. That's different. Fail forward is a concept that is rooted in linear storytelling, which is not what I'm into. I mean, I can do it, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the idea that you can have a kind of an insight about something, right? In the same way that like getting what you want, it may lead to the insight that that is not actually what you wanted at all, right? And for me, that is interesting, right? The ability to sort of think about what is happening. And I'm just now going to verify the integrity of this newly, freshly installed game while we're at it, to like give you a kind of like a complicated, like rich stew of multiple flavors where something can be success and failure, or neither one of those things, or something else entirely, and like bringing that in and letting it sort of like breathe, and that it's not finished completely, right? That, yeah. Hrothgar says, for me, TTRPGs are about exploring who the character is, exactly. I make a stat block, but who it is born organically. They're making a journey, I'm along for the ride. Exactly, and it might go where I didn't think it would go. Rissa says, in my Cthulhu game, we had time devoted to Trooper's character and his PC girlfriend having dinner with his mom and sister after announcing their engagement. Absolutely. Silly game doesn't know that it's Trooper's. I know, Artie, like, game, what are you doing? All right, so now let's see if it goes for us, Mutazione. See how you're doing. We're going to now press the play button. and we're going to see how this goes, what our life is like. Okay. It's verifying. Let's see what's happening. I believe that things are just narratively more interesting when you let the dice decide. It's how Francesca ended up taunting Carrick in that last session. Was it by Garth Brooks or was it by Chris Gaines? Oh, yes, it's House of Dreams. I had Nintendo games and SNES games in addition to arcade games. What a difference in our experiences. That is so interesting. I'm so much more open to failing forward in character development being of value to the TTRPG experience. It took me years to get there and playing a lot of different kinds of folks to get there, but I have such a better time now. And so for me, like character development, so this is why failing forward doesn't work for me in my ideal space, right? I have deliberately played games that do not include failure and where failure cannot happen because I find that so alien to the way that I think about games and life. So I was like, since this is weird to me, I'm going to go and just run games where this is the case. And so I've run a lot of games where you cannot fail and I read a lot of, was listening to a panel from designers who thought that failure is bad. I've read articles by these game designers who think that failure is bad and is not good. It's not fun. Nobody likes it. This is not how I feel. I think it might be a generational situation. But for me, there is as much character development in not getting what you want as there is in getting what you want. And I find that failing forward sometimes robs me of character development, right? Yeah, I find that the kind of no failure or really sort of like minimizing or eliminating failure does not give me the play experience that I want in order to do character development. Now you can have only, like if you have only failure, that's no good. If you have only success, right? For me, that's also no good. I want to, when I'm in my ideal form, if I'm playing a game that is that kind of a game, then I'll just do that, right? I do what I'm told when I'm a player, but I learn much more about my character when my character can fail at a thing, and then they find out who they are, right? If failure is removed from the character, from the possibilities, I find that it doesn't give me what I want in terms of developing my character and finding out about them, because I know a lot of the answers already. It's really good if I already know who my character is and I want to play a very specific character who I know who that is already, then that is like about confirmation of a thing. Or if I want to write a character, and I want these are the beats I want my character to have. I want them to do X, Y, and Z, and then have this experience, that experience, and go from here to here. This is what I want. I want a zero. Like if I want this experience, then being able to control the outcomes allows me to write that story. That doesn't tend to be what I want. It is what I will do when I'm asked to do so. But right, so when I'm in my ideal environment, by the way, Mutazione is doing something. When I'm in my ideal environment, I'm playing in a game where you can just fail or not, right? I mean, there's right, as it might go. You can't always get what you want, but if you try, sometimes you get what you need. Exactly, Artie. Exactly. I think fail forward is a tool, but shouldn't be the only one in the game. Failing lets you portray getting up. Failing lets you portray display improvisation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. And also, it might not actually be failure, right? It might be something else entirely. Like a dialectic version of what narrative could be. I know if it's a word. Yeah, I'm just not a narrative person. Like, I don't tell stories. I know a lot of people are like, I'm a storyteller, and I've decided that what I need to express is that I am not a storyteller. When people ask, because like you see it, everyone's on their like Blue Sky, I'm a storyteller. And I've realized that I need to say that is not what I am, because I'm not a storyteller. I'm a stage manager, right? You know what I mean? I'm something else. And storyteller implies a bunch of things that if you are wanting a storyteller, let me know ahead of time so I can put that hat on. But my base hat is not, I'm not a storyteller. I'm like a spotlight operator, stage manager, maybe something like that. It's also fun to know you fail as a player, not as a character. That's just fun. Absolutely. If you can't fail, can you ever really succeed? Yep. That's basically where I'm at, right? Thank you, 15. Only failure. I can get more than enough of that in my AFK life. But also for me, only a failure is not realistic, right? Like that only failure breaks my immersion. Like, because people don't only fail in real life. So it breaks, like, I want my game to be immersive for me. And if you only fail or only succeed, it breaks my immersion. Then I don't feel like I'm playing a real character. You know what I'm saying? Werewolf says, so to be fair, I think part of the reason failing isn't fun is because too many people are still stuck on this dichotomy where success are supposed to be fun for the players and failures are supposed to be fun for the GMs. Oh, yeah. That kind of oppositional relationship really ruined a lot of stuff for a lot of gamers, to be honest. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Max Ryder says, oh, I don't know if I told you. My friend is running an unmasked game where we're all 15-year-old superheroes. Oh, cool. I told him to pick my powers. I wanted to try to learn them and figure them out how they work in game. We start February 22nd. That is very cool. I played by the way, Mutazione is just being weird right now. So I'm just letting you know that it's sitting around doing its thing. And I don't know what it's doing. It is not responding. So we're, we're pondering that for the moment, try to get it worked out. I was playing in an Eberron game where we started as grad students and under like archaeology expedition. We were like undergrads and grad students and we didn't have powers yet. And the powers we got were based on how we played our character. The GM gave us powers based on how we played our character. And I was like a football hero and it became invulnerable. And other people had this, the powers we got were basically based on just how we played it. It was very, very cool. Very cool. House of Dreams says, stage matter is so perfect, right? Personally, character failures usually make the game so much more interesting, especially fumbles. Yes, as long as, again, it's within the realm of, like, realism for the game. Prax says, I'm a host. My job is to set the table, invite the guests, present the meal, and ensure the conversation keeps moving. Yeah. You want a storyteller? I assume you want to play Exalted. And look, I can do that. I can tell stories when I'm expected to do so. If somebody says, we want you to run this game where you were a storyteller, sure, I'm probably not going to do it for a long campaign, but I can certainly do that. Absolutely. And I have done it, and you've seen me do it on stream. But it's, for me, it's just like, what kind of game is this? What is my expectation? If you want me to be a classic gamist dungeon master where I'm trying to kill the characters, not the players, I can do that. Right? You know what I mean? Like, I will do what is asked of me, what the game asks me, if the players ask of me, because I think it's important to be flexible. But, there's a difference between what I can do and what is like my most enjoyable experience. Max says, one investigator in the Down Darker Trails game made 2 spot hidden fumbles while they watched an infirmary in parsonage. Instead, he saw a very tall, shaggy humanoid near the river. He noted Lakota legend spoke of such a creature that brought messages from beyond. Ooh. Carl says, I don't mind sometimes failing, but the reason I avoid PPTA games where failure is expected because I play games to get away from real life, not recreate it. I'm just part of a improv troupe, a co-story crafter, if you will. And for me, I think it's about, does it make sense in the game world, right? I liked the way that PBTA worked in Night Witches because it felt true to that game world, which is like a slightly dark Russian tragedy, right? So I was like, okay, that makes sense to me. Right, that makes sense. And there's struggle and overcoming. But there are moments where the PBTA feels a little bit too brutal to the game that they're telling you about, right? Like I was like, oh, you're supposed to be like super powerful action heroes. Ooh, this is not working very, very well for me, right? So like I want the mechanics to aid the story, right? And I want the expectations you've given me mechanically to actually make sense. And I think a lot of the narrativist impulse is because there were a lot of games that were not mechanically very sound. So they're like, oh, mechanics don't work, let's just take mechanics out. But I also think the other option would be to actually make better mechanics. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Like, there are a number of games where you're like, oh, you're like powerful and strong, and like you never succeed on a roll because the mechanics are just not well balanced. And I feel like that's not a problem with mechanics or even a problem with hostile GMs. That's a problem with bad game design, where the game designer did not talk to anybody who was good at math and probabilities, right? So I feel like there are all these ways people are trying to correct these things, which, So FYI, Storyteller is the name of the GM for the system, like D&D. Yes, it is. It's for World of Darkness. One of the reasons I enjoy Edge of the Empire, even though I'm not a huge super Star Wars person, is I love what Despair and Triumphs could do. I have the books, for the Genesis system. I'm going to run it. If we do, I'm going to run Genesis. I will, because I really want it's. There are some things I need to do. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, no, Artie, I've played so much Vampire. I know the storyteller life. Crow's like, yeah, I think I could do Night Witches. The whole point is to somehow last through suffering, and it's got a particular trajectory to an end. But I better be pitched that I'm playing. Yes, so Crone, that's actually where I sit. Like, if I can do a lot of things, but I need to know what they are, and the thing that you pitch me needs to be what the game is. And if you don't know mechanics, oftentimes there's a disconnect, which I don't find enjoyable, right? Like, and the thing about Night Witches is there are ways to mitigate, but they usually involve like I think it's really well thought out in the same way that I think like Good Society is really mechanically well thought out. But there are games that I do not think mechanically are particularly well thought out, where what you're being pitched is not what happens at the table. And I like that less. I might like the idea of the game, right? But if the mechanics are not well thought through, and please note, this has nothing to do with rules light or rules heavy. It's about, if you say in this game, for example, if you tell me that we're going to play a game where everyone's going to die, right? Like you're going to die, it's super deadly, and I make a character prepared for a super deadly game, but mechanically there's no way I could ever die, I'm going to be annoyed, actually, because I made a character when you pitched me that this is going to be a game where if we are not on if we're not on top of things, we're all going to die of dysentery in the Oregon Trail game, right? You know what I mean? And if that is not, by the way, Mutazione is still thinking, if that is not what happens in the game, I would have prepped myself for this thing, and then you didn't do that, and then I'll be less excited about that. You know what I mean? Like that's a frustrating thing. Werewolf says, I love Despair Triumph. Taking crit successes and failure style play outside of actually just succeeding or failing allows for so much more variation results. Absolutely. Artie says, I didn't know it was used outside of Exalted, as that was the only one I played. Oh, cool. Praxis, so my biggest problem with most PPDA is that they are using the mechanics of Apocalypse World and don't understand the mechanics are designed to highlight the world will eventually defeat you. House of Dreams says, one thing I've learned about PBTA theory is that it exists in the mixed success area mostly. The game experience is supposed to exist in that middle range territory where you get what you want, but at a cost most of the time. One thing I learned from Meg Baker is that think about your math before you design your game is super important to shaping the purpose of your game. So the thing is about this house, but one of the biggest problems with PBTA is that the bakers are really smart and they know what they're doing. And they designed this game on purpose, deliberately, knowing exactly what they were doing. And a bunch of people are like, oh, I don't have to ask it. I don't have to even send an email to anybody. I can just use their mechanics without even asking anyone. So I can make all I have to do is like reskin these playbooks. Boom. And they make these games with reskin playbooks, but they don't understand the math. They do not understand the mechanics. And then they make these games that don't work well, where you're struggling against the mechanics because that's not what the mechanics were built to do. You know what I mean? And they've not been thoughtful enough. And also they did not play test it because they're not in a community of gamers. It's like, because one of the things is that we sort of lost community before, like the bakers, all of them, they were in the forge. They were talking to each other and playtesting with each other and giving each other feedback and working through ideas. And they're in a community that helped them build games, right, better. But a lot of people are just doing everything on their own, and they're like in their own room by themselves with no interaction, no gaming community, no feedback or response. And so they make games that have some really good ideas, but they haven't learned how to make a game. You know what I mean? And that just makes me sad because there's a lot of lost opportunities there. Yeah. What games are not mechanically well thought out and don't match the pitch? I'm curious. Thank you, 5. I have an answer for that. Where else says, yeah, you escape with the loss of an arm, also learning a secret about the world. Or control the RPG. Yeah, it was original World of Darkness term that Exalted used as well. I'm going to reskin PBA to be about happy animals. Not the best idea. Yep. Artie's like, or you were told you're doing a combat-heavy game, so you make your character that's focused on combat skills, and the game ends up being all social investigative stuff, or vice versa. Yep, that's very frustrating. So it's going to be about werewolves that have a lot of feelings. No. I will give you an example. One example I think would be, there are many examples, but one I will give is Action Movie World. It's a PBTA game. And some ideas there are so good. There's some really interesting ideas in that game that are like really interesting. So it's action movies, like it's like big 70s, 80s action movies. There is a meta to it that actually you're all playing actors playing action movie stars, and and there's going to be a lead character in each movie. So each adventure has like a lead character. It's like a movie, and only that character can kill or defeat the big bad. If you're not the lead character, you cannot defeat the big bad at the end. If you are a supporting character, you can do other things though. So like they're different, and also the person who's playing the lead actor in that movie will not be playing the lead actor in the next movie, right? So you kind of rotate it. And if your character, they have this whole setup about people dying, right? If your character dies, then that actually triggers a bunch of special moves that happen when your character dies. And when your character dies, you become part of the crew of the movie. So you might become the agent. You might become the stunt coordinator. Like there are all these really cool things you do when you as a player move to like, because your character dies, so your actor now becomes like the stunt coordinator and like impacts the world in the game. There's so many cool things that go on in there. But the problem is, there are a couple of problems. One, because they want it to feel like a big action movie thing, they overpowered the players a little bit too much. The bonuses are too high. And in a 2d6 system where your average roll is a 7. If you're looking at a +3 or +4, you're looking at never failing, ever, right? So it's the minute you get a +4, you know what I mean? Like, so there's a way in which there's too many bonuses, so it makes failure almost impossible to happen. And all of these really cool mechanics that are built into the game never get triggered. They just never get triggered. Also, because it's a PBTA game where the GM never rolls, the GM is always reactive to player actions, that actually makes it very hard to emulate an action movie sort of sequence in many ways where, like, you know, and I GM'd it offline for some folks. They had a good time enjoying it. They enjoyed it, but I was like, man, there's some really great things in this game, these ideas that never come up because the person who did it did not understand the impact of a +2, right, or a +3 or a +4. So the mechanics themselves, like an entire part of the game that was really cool and novel, never happens because they overcorrected. They're like, oh, I know that PBTA is too punishing, so I'm just going to give you big bonuses. That was not the way to do it. You really need to think a lot more seriously about how to keep the danger of an action movie. If you have built-in mechanics for people to die and then do these really cool things once they die, like your character dies and then like the lead character gets this big huge bonus and then you get to be the stunt coordinator and like change the explosions. Like there's all this cool stuff and it never happens because they didn't really understand. It did not work out well, but it could have been really good because the ideas are really cool. And I really liked a lot of the ideas in there, but you know, 2d6, your probabilities get warped real fast if you're not on it, you know? Yeah. It's, but, and the thing is, I actually really, really liked a lot of the concepts. I was sad that they didn't follow it through. Yeah. I just, because you mentioned something that legit exists. Yeah. There's already a PBT game like that out there. I don't like it. Lots of alpha content. I think it was trying to be critical, but in my opinion, that's not where it landed. Praxis, it's why I spend so much time when I create games that are based on combination mechanics. Carol Sort was like that. On our Harrington game, will be like that. Yeah. Just want to make a joke due to your name. I love that. Werewolf says, I played it. It doesn't get my werewolf commendation. I get what the author was going for, but there's a cost at trying to mechanize that kind of a thing. It's hard to attempt to make fun while also challenging the concept, you know? If your death mechanics are cool and vital and people never die, that you lose. Right? This is the thing. I was like, oh, man. They need to understand probability and variance is super important design. Yeah, exactly. House of Dreams says, yeah, the PBTA-inspired game I created, which was supposed to be epic fantasy, and I had to add the mechanic of the MC getting a hard move and the PC getting an experience if they roll 14+. rather than what, yeah. Sounds like miscounted by one when you're counting by 1,000 is much different than miscounted by one, you're counting to three. Yeah, yeah. And there are a number of games that I found that do that, right? And I'm going to say this, I find a lot of rules light indie games have this problem because many of them are run by people who are math phobic and mechanics phobic. And so they just avoid the math and the mechanics. And because they don't necessarily have a testing community, they also don't play test it enough. So there are a lot of these rules light games that are not mechanically sound. And they could be if people had a better community, right? Or if they found value in working together with other people. And it's just a bummer. That's all. It's just a bummer. Okay. Yes. So, by the way, Mutazione is still running. I'm gonna be troubleshooting that one. There are some other ones that are sort of similar, where you're like, oh, I don't think you just haven't hit the spot there, and yeah, you know. But the thing is, I just have to say, I really liked that. I really liked the concept in that game. We just didn't get to manifest most of them. And there are more games that are similar in those ways. But I just think you have to know you have to. So there was on the Steve Jackson Games website, if you go deep in there, they've got a lot of tutorials for writers. Because they take submissions from writers for their things, and they've got a tutorial on physics. They've got they put up a lot of resources for writers who want to write games to be able to learn how to do some things. And a lot of people nowadays are just doing everything in the dark with no mentorship, nobody with experience helping them. And they also don't seek out those people because they're rebels or whatever. And then you get people who are making games and making the same mistakes that people made 10 years ago that they could have helped. You know what I mean? But of course, there are people who are doing brilliant work. Like the people from Story Brewers who do Good Society, they're really good at what they do. They have clearly thought about the mechanics so heavily. The bakers know their stuff. Say what you want about the Forge, but that first generation of Forge people, they knew their stuff. They were people who really, they knew what they were talking about, and their games are solid. Right? You can like them or not like them, but they're solid. And I just wish that there were more community and seeking out help, receiving help, giving help, play testing, respecting the game you're making, I guess, that kind of a thing. Yeah. Yeah. So I am going to go. I'm going to have to force quit out of Mutazione again and mess with it. Because here's the thing. I want to finish this game, but it's being weird right now. It has been corrupted. So I'm going to figure out what's going on with it and try to fix it. But that's not for right now. For right now, I'm going to tell you what's what and what's happening. So I'm going to go. There is Critical Role tonight, but I have not watched last week's and I want to watch it. So I don't think that I can hang out during Critical Role tonight. Instead, I'm going to be doing grading. I've got a bunch of grading to do. So I'm going to do that and put on the old last week. I'm going to put last week's Critical Role up on the VOD. I'm going to have it going while I do grading. I've got to get some grading done tonight and some catch up and prep, all that kind of stuff. So tomorrow you can find me at 7 p.m. Eastern here on Trooper SJP as we do The Gamblers, episode 2 of season 8. I'm very, very excited for how that's developing. Saturday, I will be playing Heaven's Vault, which is on console, so I will not have to worry about this. So that'll be noon Eastern for Heaven's Vault. I'm very excited to get back to that. And then Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on my channel, Laugh Love Lindy's channel, Wandering DM's channel, and High Shelf Collective will be the first part of our 2-shot for Tachyon Squadron. I'm very excited. I need to make some maps and all that business to get ready for them. There's obviously going to be volleyball, but I have a little bit of stuff that I want to do. So that's very exciting. Do I need to, I need to update our RPG command. Sorry about that, Rissa. I will do that. That's, look for more editions of Quest Calendar coming out on YouTube. I try to have them go at noon. The one for today is going to go out tonight, I think, and then it might go out tomorrow at noon. Anyway, I try to have those videos go at noon. So that's happening. So you can check that out while that's going. And I've got some things happening at the end of the month, but that's a secret. That's me. I'm not going to raid because I have to figure out what's going on. So that is me. Thank you for hanging out. I know we didn't get a whole lot of Mutazione going on, but not all of that was my fault, right? Some of that was Mutazione being weird. Werewolf, thank you. Thank you, Werewolf. I am happy to be back with you all. Y'all are great and awesome. And there's going to be a volleyball game on Sunday. In Tachyon Squadron, there's going to be a volleyball game. That's all I'm saying. Thank you, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow or later. It is good to be back. And thanks for sticking around and hanging out with me. And I'm excited for the state of the Foxhole stream. I'm working on stuff for it. And as soon as I get some data done, we'll be done. Thank you, everybody. You're cool. Well, then I will be there going, boo, Axion sucks. Thank you. Because Axion Squadron, they're the worst. They all got they're the worst. Everybody, I will see you later. Bye, everybody.